We have explored the dark psyches of Jack the Ripper and the Zodiac Killer. But tonight we will determine once and for all who are the greatest serial killers of all time on Deep Fat Fried.
Deep Fat Fried.
Paul will not be joining us tonight. Tonight we have John X, active serial killer.
We're frozen in time, dude.
Frozen like the pieces of shit that you are.
I'll be honest with you, TJ, it's really hard to hold my arms like that, so can you, fix it?
Maybe. We'll see.
My arms are getting fucking tired, dude.
My arms are getting tired holding that position.
Yeah, dude, they're getting tired.
All right, maybe this will fix... I mean, you murdered our fucking cameras, didn't you, Jack? Or John, or whatever the hell your name is. Sorry about that.
What's your name again?
John.
Why do I have to say X, too?
Well,
X
that...
is like, in math and stuff.
No.
I was gonna go with John.
You sound like a bad DJ or something.
Well, I can't help but your pitch shifter on my voice.
No. I mean, you sound like it's like a bad name for a DJ. Like, I'm John X, club DJ. You know what I'm saying? Like one of those fucking guys that plays those nightclubs and shit.
I don't know what to do about this.
God, TJ. You know what, TJ? You had one fucking job. You fucking worthless sack of
Make sure
shit.
the camera doesn't freeze.
Make sure I don't fucking freeze in place, dude. My arms are fucking... Look at me, dude. Look what I'm going through.
Right.
John X is just fucking chilling. He's fine.
I mean, I'd rather not be on camera.
Well, I don't know what else to put there. I mean, I gotta...
Tried unplugging the camera and turning it on and off and stuff.
Well, we did that before the show. I guess we could try it again now.
This is all because TJ fucking refuses to restart his goddamn computer.
I've restarted it already.
No, you haven't, TJ.
And last time that didn't...
TJ, I'm fucking suing you. File a goddamn lawsuit. I'm going to take you to federal fucking court. TJ, I'm going to take you to international court. It's loose. And it's loose morals. It's a loose connection. Dude, this is all TJ's fault. I think we can squarely put the blame. Look, is your camera working?
Yep.
There you go.
Don't worry, Scott.
So,
Take care of him later tonight.
Thank you, John X.
What needs to be working is working. Okay, there's...
Oh, wow.
The stupid fucking retard.
Dude, it's amazing.
Excuse me?
Nothing. Didn't say nothing.
Say something?
Didn't say
I
nothing.
didn't think so.
Did you say something insultive, TJ?
What is it doing? What the fuck is wrong with this piece of shit? I don't want that. God. Click this, okay? There you go. Go there.
TJ's drunk again, dude. He is,
I
dude.
don't know much about your podcast here. I heard that someone was doing a top 10 list on serial killers, and I figured...
Is your
What?
mic even on, Paul? What a twat.
First of all, I don't know why you called me Paul.
Oh, I'm sorry.
My name is John X.
John X.
John X.
John.
Clearly, you're a better serial killer than you are talker, dude, because you're supposed to
He's
try...
got to be a better serial
Look.
killer than we are podcasters. That's all I can say.
There you go.
If you were a competent podcaster, you would have come over here and turned my mic on. I don't know anything about microphones. I'm a killer, not a broadcaster.
Fair point. Fair point.
Clearly,
John
we're
X.
not, though. I mean, with all the technical problems. I mean, especially TJ, dude. TJ really dropped the ball today.
How many fucking...
I just want to say right now that TJ really dropped the ball.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, I just want to put that out to you that you dropped the ball again, TJ.
You dropped the severed human head that you took as a trophy. What a retard.
TJ, I'd like you to apologize to the audience right now for this mishap.
Hey, audience. How you doing? So, sorry about that. We,
No, you.
know, I'm sorry. I
Yes, thank you.
I don't know. I'm
You
not
fucked
really
up,
sorry.
dude. You
I'm
fucked
just not
up,
really
TJ.
sorry. I wish I was.
I wish I was
You will
sorry.
be later tonight.
Since we have John X here, I did want to ask him. First of all, how many people have you killed?
I've killed X people.
You're not even going to reveal. I mean, what's the point of having you here if you're not even going to, share the details?
Well, because
with us?
my work is not yet complete, and telling you how many people I've killed up till this point would be like sharing the Bible before it was finished.
Why does John X remind me of Stevie?
It's your pitch shifting program, not mine. I usually have a very nasally and effeminate voice.
Wow.
It's
The
one of
serial
the
killer
tactics I
talks
use
too
to
much.
lure my
Whoa.
victims.
Damn.
They look at me and they think, look at that big squeeze toy of a man, and then I slash their throats and drink their blood.
Ah, so you're a cannibal.
No, I'm not a cannibal.
Vampire. Whatever.
I drink their blood and then I throw it up all over their bodies. It's disgusting.
Oh, okay. So you
Whoa.
don't really even like the taste. You just kind of...
The news media has given me the ignoble title of blood puke, which I did not assign to myself. I've always addressed myself as John X,
Wow.
but they call me the blood puke killer.
The blood puke killer.
just
You
seem
think
like-
you
you
think
seem
you're
really
gonna make it
edgy,
on tonight's
dude.
list? Blood puke killer.
I hope not, because like I said, my work is not finished, and this will be a list of men who have finished their work.
The blood puke killer is not going to be on our list. There's no way. I mean, no offense to you, but
I mean, I think it's pretty
you
cool
know.
that he's actually here with us.
Well, if you do another one of these lists in a few years, maybe
maybe
I'll
then,
make the list.
maybe then.
But like I said, my work is not yet complete.
All right. Well, that's fair enough. So we've already
I'm
done.
going to cut your throat, drink
Yeah.
your blood, and puke it all over your corpse tonight, TJ. I just want you to know that.
Well, that's fine.
Okay.
You're probably gonna have a heart attack, dude. If you swallow any of the blood, there's so much goddamn cholesterol in it.
Oh, I like the fatty blood.
Oh, you like fatty blood? Oh,
Well,
dude.
why do you think I'm a fat fuck?
I mean, you're in for a treat. Well, we don't know if you're fat. That could be a fat suit. We don't know.
Haha, smart man.
Okay. Whatever. So we've done shows. I know that you're new to here, John.
Yes.
So I should explain. We've already done a couple of shows on serial killers. How familiar are you with the Zodiac and Jack the Ripper?
I know them like the back of my fucking hairy ass.
So were they big inspirations for you?
I wouldn't say inspirations more than, I would say mentors, really.
Wow.
Jack and Zodiac are really the template killers. Every serial killer that I've talked to wants to be one of those guys, and I'd be a liar to tell you that I'm any different.
So in there's a gathering of the serial killers, you guys like those are like the people you lionize. Like there's like a Jack the Ripper award or something. You
Yes.
know what I mean?
Yeah, in fact, it's called it's called Zodiac RipperCon.
Whoa.
You won't ever get an invite, but
I mean, clearly not. No.
The
How
serial
many
killer
people do you
con.
have to kill to get invited to that?
you have to kill X amount of people. I
X
can't reveal
amount.
this stuff to you
Okay, so this is like
until
the
you've made your
Masons,
first
you know?
fresh kill.
Dude, there's NDAs, dude. There's
You made your
non-disclosure.
first fresh kill, TJ,
No, I'm afraid not.
then you get no invite.
Okay. Well, I mean, I guess it wasn't for me. It wasn't going to work out. So tonight we're going to be figuring out the top 10 serial killers of all time. And, there's kind of a curiosity here. That's why we have John X here, because, we're not really sure what the criteria are. I mean, if we were just going to make it about victim count, then we could just go find, this is a list of the serial killers with the most victims, and we could just do that. But, there's other things that have to be factored in.
Of course.
Style and taunting the police and, the panic that they created and were they caught. How creative were their kills,
How crazy were they?
Yeah, the
What
level
was
of
telling them to kill? if
entertaining
anything?
insanity. Yeah, what's your gimmick, other than the whole blood puking thing? Are you like, told to kill by like a sentient socket wrench or like you got something like that?
I mean, if you're really interested, I can tell you.
Yeah.
I took a shit one night. I was a totally normal guy with a totally normal 9 to 5, and I took a shit one night, and I looked at the toilet before I flushed it, and it spoke to me. And it said, "I am Gorgonath, god of the toilet bowl."
Wow.
And that is who tells me to kill and drink the blood and then puke it upon the corpses of my victim.
Oh. Okay.
I kept that turd in a jar.
I thought you were going to say that you thought you took such a big shit that you realized that all reality is a computer simulation, so what you do doesn't really matter. So,
Well, that
so by killing, you're not really killing a person, you're just killing pixels. You're just
But
killing...
in this simulation, Gorgonath is like, giving me my tutorial, and he's taking me along the ride of being a serial killer. Yes.
Okay, so yeah, I get it, dude. It's like your guy in the game, dude.
The Toilet Goblin Guide, yes.
Cool. All right, so let's get started because we got an arduous task ahead of us here. This is our little list as it is. There's no one on it. Obviously, we got to give props to Zodiac.
Jack the Ripper.
We got to give props to Jack the Ripper.
Of course.
Those guys, I mean, we did entire episodes on them. We've explored them in depth. So who else belongs in contention?
I mean, you can't do a list like this without my main man, Jeff Dahmer, on there.
Yeah, you're right, dude. Jew, whoa.
Jew?
Whoa.
My kind of guy. I didn't know you were a fellow supremacist.
Well, you can't have Jeffrey Dahmer without, Ted Bundy, dude.
I'm seeing Ted Bundy.
Of course, Bundy.
Yeah, you got to put Bundy in there, dude. John Wayne Gacy.
Of course, yes, John
Nundy.
Wayne.
Ted Nundy,
Ted
dude.
Nugent.
Ted Nugent, whoa, dude. Wango Tango.
Richard Ramirez.
Yeah.
Who else you got? H.H. Holmes?
I said, that's a good one, actually. I said John Wayne Gacy.
John Wayne Gacy?
Yep, Gacy. C. Yep.
Ed Gein. Albert Fish.
Albert Fish, for sure.
Ted Cruz. Yeah, I could put Ted Cruz on there.
We should.
Oh, yeah, BTK.
Bind, torture, kill.
I actually have here a list of the top killers in terms of victim count.
What's that guy? We're the vamp, the Dracula of what's that fucking Tsutomu Mizaki?
Yeah, something like that.
The fucking guy that murdered the little girls in Japan and raped their corpses and shit. He probably belongs on this list, or is a contender for it.
I have to find his name somewhere because I definitely can't spell it.
Thank you, by the way, for pitch shifting my voice to sound more like your co-host Paul's ego. That's way easier to understand and easier on my throat. Look, all of these guys here.
Yes.
They might have high kill counts.
Yeah.
But they don't fit the bill. They are not the celebrity murderer. They didn't carve their names into history in any way other than killing a bunch of people. And that's not what this list is about in my mind.
Right.
In my mind, this list is not about sheer number of people killed.
No.
It's about name recognition. It's about the crimes and how they're remembered. And I don't know any of these names here. I mean, until...
Not even Wang Qiang.
Well, I mean, I know him.
Yeah, I see some familiar names on here.
That's someone we know.
Serial killers. It looks like most of the famous ones have actually killed less. Most of these people I've never fucking heard of, though. So, I mean, like, this idea that if you're a prolific serial killer, you're instantly a celebrity.
No,
clearly not 100% true.
I mean, it's like any other entertainment industry. There's a lot of competition out there, it looks like.
Oh, yeah. Lots of
I
competition.
mean, the Zodiac only had, 5 confirmed victims?
Yep.
The Doodler?
The Doodler?
What?
We got to put him on there.
The Doodler.
Sketched, then stabbed to death 14 gay men in San Francisco. Surviving victims did not wish to testify, so the killer was not identified.
Whoa.
The Doodler, dude.
The Doodler.
Doodler.
All right, let's check him out.
What a legend.
The Doodler, also known as the Black Doodler, is an unidentified serial killer believed responsible for 14 murders and 3 assaults of men in the gay community of San Francisco, California between January 1974 and September 1975. I guess his name was because he liked to sketch people before he killed them.
The Doodler.
Does he have a fucking unibrow?
He looks like a caveman.
Look at this fuck.
Yeah, look at him.
Jesus, dude.
The Doodler.
He looks like Cro-Magnon Man.
I am the Doodler.
The Cro-Magnon Slayer.
Killed up to 14 people.
Or he
Consistent
survived.
method used in he liked to stab them in the front and back. Police theorize that victims all died after meeting with the suspect near the locations where their bodies were recovered. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, I think just for being called the Doodler, he has to at least be in
He has to
contention.
go on. We have to give him a spot on the list. What's chat saying?
The chat is saying Ed Kemper.
Well, let's look him up, and
Let's see who that is.
I'm not 100%. I'm not super familiar with all these
I
serial.
mean, me neither. That's why we're learning. Ed Kemper. Serial killer who murdered 10 people, including his paternal grandparents and mother.
Oh, yeah, dude.
I remember this. Dude.
I remember this guy, yeah. Like,
co-ed killer.
yep, yeah, colleges, yep. I saw this long-ass interview with this dude.
Yeah, we watched some interviews.
And
with
like
this
a
dude.
lot of it stemmed from he really hated his mom, and I think it was the final murder he committed was his mother.
A lot of us hate our mothers. I found that amongst the serial killer community.
Oh, yeah, I keep forgetting that's not Paul.
Yeah, you have the Paul Pit Shifter on.
Right. I forgot about that. TJ murdered spelling. What'd I spell wrong? This is all spelled right. Fuck you. I think it is. Fuck. Would you say the Unabomber counts as a serial killer?
Yes.
All right.
Not an up close and personal type of guy.
Bomber.
Bomb, 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 bomb your victims.
Oh, yeah. Damn, they're Son of Sam. Yeah, he's got to be on there.
Oh yeah.
Oh, the dog told me to do it, man.
What about the DC sniper?
Oh yeah.
Aileen Wuornos.
Yes,
Yep.
dude.
She should be there.
She's had movies. I don't know exactly how to spell her name. I'm just going to fuck it up.
It's close enough.
You're trying to
George Bush.
the Japanese guy is the Human Dracula. It's you can spell his name T.
I'm just going to say the human Dracula.
Okay, there you go.
Cracula.
God, whoa, dude. That's like a blaxploitation fucking version. It's Cracula.
The dude that smothers
Dude, I
people
want
with
there
his
to
ass
be.
crack.
Nah, dude. I want to just be a black crackhead murderer, dude.
I'm gonna drink your blood.
I like the human.
Nigga, I'm Cracula.
I like the human Dracula.
Elizabeth Bathory. Is she a serial killer? I mean, I guess she has to count, right?
Yeah, I would guess. We're gonna put her on here. Honest about this.
Yeah.
Oh, that's just pretty crazy. Charles Edmund Cullen, the Angel of Death. Yeah, it was a nurse who killed a bunch of elderly people.
What's he called?
The Angel of Death.
What's his name? Charles what?
Edmund Cullen.
Edmund Cullen. So he was like a nurse that murdered. How many people did he kill?
Says Cullen worked as a nurse in many hospitals, but kept switching jobs. He was fired for suspicious behavior for many of them. He confessed to murdering 40 elderly patients in New Jersey from 1984 to 2003. He did this by poisoning these patients to death with unprescribed medication. He stated that he wanted to relieve the patients from their suffering much like an angel would. Experts say he had more than 300 victims.
So he was a serial killer for very pure motives.
Yeah.
It was an act of mercy.
It was a kindness, DJ.
Wasn't there a female nurse that did that too?
Annie Wilkes.
Annie Wilkes. Yeah.
No, she was
Oh.
Annie
That was a
Wilkes,
fictional
that's
character.
misery. No, I didn't talk
that
about.
was her MO though.
There was the yeah, I didn't talk about. There's like a nurse that murdered people, like kids, by using this. It was like
Angel of Death or whatever the.
it was like some compound or the chemical they couldn't detect, and then or some poison they couldn't detect, and then some Swedish guy or something or like Swiss
About
guy.
Donald
invented a test.
Henry Gaskins, dude.
Oh, the hitchhiker one.
Yeah,
hitchhiker guy.
He killed between 80 and 90 people by torturing and mutilating them. He would basically pick up hitchhikers and fucking torture and mutilate them and shit.
Wow.
Sentenced to death. Later, it was turned to life imprisonment. He died, or actually, he added another murder to his name and became the only man to have ever killed an inmate on death row.
There you go.
That seems pretty legendary.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. Like, he didn't stop when he got caught. He's like, I just got to keep killing.
Yeah, you got to give props there. Let's see. Who else? Already got the Human Dracula. Ted Bundy we got. Jack the Ripper we got. Louis Garavito? This is the guy with the top serial killer count. He was called La Bestia, the Beast.
Whoa.
He was Colombian. Confessed to the torture, rape, and murder of 147 young boys, but the number is believed to be over 300. He was found guilty on 139 counts, which should amount to 1,853 years in prison, but Colombian law limits it to 30, which is what he was sentenced to in 1999. He may be released earlier for cooperation and good behavior. Whoa.
Oh, my God.
I'm pretty sure
Colombia,
that... yeah, Colombia, you might want to rethink that old legal system, man. You might want to rethink that. I mean, I don't know. I think it's fine that you have, some lax prison sentences, but maybe a dude who murders 300 young boys and rapes and tortures
probably
them.
Should be walking the streets.
Maybe don't let that guy out,
Actually, I've got to jump in for Colombia here. I think that it's brave that they have such a pro-serial killer stance and they're willing to take it, and I have to advocate for my own people.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously, you feel that way. Let's see. This dude is called the Sorcerer. Ahmad Suraji. Apparently, he was a cattle breeder from Indonesia, admitted to killing 42 girls and women between 1986 to 1997. As part of his ritual, he used to bury them waist deep. Bodies were found in sugarcane fields with their heads facing his house, which he believed would give him more power. Suraji was sentenced to death by our firing squad in 2008. They don't fuck around in Indonesia the same way they do in Colombia, I guess. What do you think?
I would say not.
I say no.
I mean, when they fucking...
Not fascinated by the whole burying him, facing his house to give him more power thing?
I mean, that's kind of cool.
I think
I'll try that.
I think that deserves
me power.
I think that deserves a spot in this early stage of contention.
Yeah, you're gonna be the first one to face my house, TJ. I'm gonna put you in the cornfield.
Neat.
And all of the energy from what used to be your
So
life.
I want the police to take note that he lives around a cornfield.
I didn't say I live there.
He lives by a cornfield.
When I say my house, I mean wherever it is I'm staying.
Alexander Pichuskin, the chessboard killer. That's his gimmick. He was also known as the chessboard killer and the Beasta Park maniac. His targets were homeless men whom he lured to his house with vodka. He is believed to have killed 49 people, most of them with repeated hammer blows to their heads, and inserted a vodka bottle into the gaping skull wound. Neat. He initially said he wanted to complete the number of squares on a chessboard and kill 64 people. Also, it is believed he was in competition with another Russian serial killer, Andrei Chikatilo? I don't know how to pronounce that. Who was convicted in 1992 for 53 killings. It was the same year Alexander started killing. So, I mean, I don't know, man, because it's just homeless dudes,
Yeah, I mean, that's like the low-hanging fruit of humanity. I mean, every serial killer starts with a homeless.
Right.
You know
but this guy just never moved past it.
Nobody's looking for them. When they're found dead, somebody just assumes another homeless killed them.
Here's another one I wasn't familiar with: the toy box killer, David Parker Ray, which he basically sexually tortured and killed his victims in a converted RV trailer equipped with thousands of dollars in S&M and bondage equipment, as well as manners of torture devices.
Oh, is that the dude that used to make the girls listen to a recording of what he was going to do to them before he did it? They'd wake up bound and gagged and shit in his trailer, and then he'd play a tape that explained to them what was expected of them,
Right.
And I think he actually got caught when one of them escaped and told the outside world what was going on.
There's a dude driving around with a bondage trailer.
What was his name?
David Parker Ray.
Cool. That Andrei Chikatilo dude, Chikatilo, I'm sure I'm butchering his fucking name, which is ironic considering his name is the Butcher.
Yep.
Andrei, the Butcher of Rostov, said, "When I used my knife, it brought psychological relief. I know I have to be destroyed. I was a mistake of nature." He was responsible for sexually assaulting, killing, and mutilating 53 women and children between 1978 and 1990 in Russia. Was a subject of a pretty interesting movie. What was the name of that? It was like Citizen X or something. After being captured in 1992, he was ordered to be killed by a firing squad in 1994. So,
He's still in my X gimmick.
yeah, he stole your X thing, dude. Well, you stole it from him, really. I mean, he did it first.
How do you know?
Oh, I can just tell.
How do you know how long I've been killing?
37 minutes.
You seem like a younger fellow, dude.
Well, what I seem
You
like
seem
and what
like
I
a
am
young
is very
gentleman.
different. That's why I'm able to get away with the things I'm able to get away with.
Patrick Wayne Kearney, the trash bag killer. They all have a little cute nickname. That's fun. Also called the trash bag killer, he operated between 1975 and 1977. He had a high IQ, but once captured, he confessed to 32 murders of homosexual men. Kearney would dump their bodies along California highways, wrapped in trash bags, thus earning the name. He was convicted of 21 murders, but was sentenced to life because of his confession. So I guess they spared him that. Doesn't really seem special enough, does he?
No.
If it was the garbage bag killer, then I would suspect you, TJ. Because you, in fact, are garbage.
We already talked about BTK.
Yep. Dennis Rader.
There's this dude, John George Hay. Hay.
Hey. Hey.
Sounds kind of promising. He's called the Acid Bath Murderer.
Whoa.
Operated during the 1940s. Kind of looks like Walt Disney a little bit.
He was Walt Disney.
He was convicted of the murders of 6 people, although he claimed to have killed 9. Professional con man who lured wealthy people by charm and deceit into a warehouse where he shot them. Later, he would dissolve their bodies in sulfuric acid. I mean, I don't really like him for this because he just has this, like, kind of crass profit motive.
Yeah, it's just like kill them, dissolve the body, get away
Kill them,
with it.
dissolve the body, steal the money. You know, I don't know. Doesn't seem that special to me. Does anyone disagree?
I don't disagree. I mean, I never kill for money.
This is just gross. Paul Knowles, the Casanova killer, used to use his charm to make his victims believe him and later killed them. Killed 18 people, although the count might be more. His victims included men, women, and children. The man was from Florida, eventually killed by an FBI agent in 1974 when he was trying to escape.
You know what? I mean, he fucking ran the gamut. I think he deserves a spot.
He looks pretty cool, too. Here, let me show you.
Oh, yeah.
He looks rugged. That's a man's man of a serial killer.
Kind of makes you wonder if the guy was really trying to escape, though. Oh, he's trying to escape. Gotta shoot him.
Paul Knowles.
Dude, you should have been putting these guys' nicknames and shit next to them.
Because
we're not going to be able to remember who... Like, what did Charles Edmund Cullen do, TJ?
Charles Edmund Cullen was a
Without
fucking...
looking at your shit.
The Angel of Death.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, not the Angel of Death, but the Angel whatever killer.
Yeah, he was the Angel of Death.
Oh, that's what they call him?
That was the hospital guy. It was the hospital guy.
I remember being the hospital guy, but did they actually call him the Angel of Death?
Yes.
Okay, I guess.
Yeah, they called him the Angel of Death.
The Angel of Death.
You know, we got Jeffrey Dahmer. Who's this guy? Tommy Lynn Sells, the Brutal Texan. All right.
Brutal Texan.
Claimed to have killed at least 70 people, brutally murdered between 1985 and 1999, including stabbing a 13-year-old girl 16 times. Sells broke into the bedroom of a 10-year-old girl, stabbing her and left her to die, but despite her injuries, she managed to survive and gave a detailed description of Sells to the police. He was sentenced to death and remains on death row in a high-security prison in Texas.
I remember this because, I remember the
there was
story
a forensic files about
this
this
guy,
guy,
that's what I'm saying, because it was about the girl surviving, because he thought he killed the girl, and she actually survived, yeah.
I think there was a forensic files about his ass. He couldn't even finish the job of killing a 10-year-old. I don't think he makes it. Looks kind of like a loser, too.
Yeah, we got to be picky with
Look
this
at him.
list.
Yeah, this guy sucks.
Kind of a
dude.
dork. Damn it, get the fuck off the screen, bitch.
He's a wannabe.
Yeah, he ain't on that top tier.
Nope.
Fuck that dude, man.
I mean, how many we got here? Let's just see.
Got quite a few.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. That seems decent.
Yep.
Seems decent.
We could definitely start paring it down from here.
I mean, look, like...
There's not a glut of fucking famous serial killers. Let's just
Yeah, I
be
mean,
honest.
we got to fucking... Now we just have to figure out the criteria, so, for elimination. We got to keep Aileen Wuornos out of fucking... because she's like one of the few bitches on this list. We got to have that...
She has to have a special little place.
We got to have that feminist pick to make sure that we're fucking socially progressive
We could bracket this
and forward-thinking. We could.
and have them go head to head.
You want to do it?
I mean, I think that's a smart thing to do. I mean, and then that'll give us our top 10, right? Too. Because we'll be able to...
Yeah, we'll be able to, like, go back and figure it out.
Right.
I mean,
I think it's the easiest way to look at these, just kind of compare these killers against one another.
Sure.
And then you'll eventually have your top ranking, too.
Right. Then we'll know what our top 10 is. I mean, the bracket system is really helpful for this because especially in this, when you're really thinking about these guys against each other, well, let's just pit them all against each other and see who comes out on top.
Hell yeah. All right, we'll set that aside.
She's just
for
going to
now.
go ahead and, bam.
Why is top 10 serial killers an option?
Yeah,
Whatever.
why don't you,
It's because I copied the whole thing.
you
right?
have to just copy without that.
It doesn't matter. It'll just lose automatically to whatever. It's not gonna.
Oh, it won't affect then? It's okay, cool then.
It's not gonna affect shit. So the first thing is the DC sniper versus Aileen Wuornos.
Okay.
So the DC sniper's motive, and I might be. Let me just double check on this, but I believe that his killings were all a distraction because he wanted to kill his wife.
Correct.
But he wanted it to seem like a random attack, so he figured he'd pretend to be this serial killer that kills people at random. I mean, not pretend, he actually did become a serial killer. It was him and his son, I believe.
Yep.
It was.
Wasn't they that they basically converted the trunk of their car?
Yeah, they actually created a little mobile hunting wagon. They cut a hole in the car so that they could shoot people randomly, and it was after he killed enough people, he was going to kill his wife, and then people would just be like, oh, another victim of the sniper.
Yep.
He never actually got around to killing his wife. I don't know why he felt like he needed to kill so many people before he established the credibility of the sniper.
I mean, the more people he killed, the more credible his story became.
Right, and the more motives they have to look into for these people.
The sheer randomness of the attacks, though, and the fact that people were just walking along getting shot in the head, that made people so paranoid, so that they actually tracked this guy down pretty quickly. I mean, there was like one of the things like, terror grips the nation, and then he was caught pretty quickly.
It basically shut down the entire economy
wasn't it like
of
Virginia?
the DC area.
Yeah, the Virginia area.
Maryland and Virginia, he was shooting people. Pretty wide range of attacks. Killed 10 people, injured 3 others. His name was John Allen Muhammad and Lee Boyd Malvo. So there was a duo, but it was mostly, John that was the puppet master.
Lee Boyd Malvo has the cooler serial killer name, though.
He does. That's true. Their crime spree began in February of 2002 and featured murders and robberies in the state of Alabama, Arizona, Florida, Georgia, Louisiana, Texas, Washington. So they
went all over them.
They were they kind of had this little criminal thing. They before they doing the whole sniper thing, it sounds like they were doing more standard crimes for a little while.
Yeah, I question this guy's pure serial killer motives, honestly.
Yeah, he doesn't
the real
quite
serial
fit
killer
in.
Does it for the thrill of the kill, or the revenge of the kill,
I mean,
or whatever it is.
This
guy's just trying to cover for another crime.
He just killed for personal gain.
And we're pitting him against Aileen Wuornos, who's a true serial killer in every sense of the word. Her MO was she was kind of like the inverse, right? So instead of being the dude that picks up the hitchhiker or drifter and kills him, she was the hitchhiker.
Yeah.
And she'd hitchhike around because she was a woman. These creeps would fucking pick her up. And the reason she started killing was because she was hitchhiking around, homeless, crazy. And one of these dudes tried to rape her.
Aileen Wuornos was a crazy hooker.
In fact, she was raped multiple times. And then eventually one day she
was
back.
a truck stop hooker, so yeah.
She was a lot lizard, yeah.
She murdered 7 men between 1989 and 1990. All took place in Florida. Her...
Where else, dude?
Yeah, well, her method of murder was just kind of shooting him point blank in the head. When she was caught, she claimed that they all had tried to rape her, and that all of her murders were in self-defense. She was sentenced to death by lethal injection, a sentence that was carried out on October 9th, 2002. Film Monster with Charlize Theron was made about her exploits about a year after her death, actually. Charlize Theron's really good in that fucking movie.
It's a good movie.
I think she won an Academy Award for it, didn't she? Yeah, she did.
Yeah, she did.
I gotta give it to Aileen. I mean, she didn't kill as many people, but the pathology of her is more traditionally what I think of as a serial killer.
Her motives are more pure, and
the DC sniper seems more like an all-purpose criminal that just came up with a crazy plot.
He was pretending to be a serial killer so that he could cover the actual crime.
Precisely.
That doesn't count.
Yeah.
I think the winner is clear.
I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to enable voting, even though I'm not going to let people. I mean, I guess we could let people vote if they wanted to. I just have to put this link down there.
I mean, maybe if we get to a really contentious one, put the link down.
I mean, they can vote just for the fun of it.
Sure.
We don't have to actually obey their edicts.
Not a binding vote.
Yeah, we won't be bound to their vote, but it might be good in the case of a tiebreaker. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in the chat room. I'm also going to add it to the link in the description section so you guys can go and actually participate by voting. We're probably not going to necessarily...
We will defer to you.
If we can't come to a consensus, then we will definitely give weight to what the audience thinks. So we're starting a serial killer bracket here. You can go vote.
You have the power.
You have the power to vote. You'll go there, you'll see this stuff, and you can vote. And when we click stuff, we'll be able to see what your votes are. I don't know if we probably don't have any in yet. But, actually, we got one person in so far. But we have already chosen Aileen Wuornos, so that one you're going to have to whatever. So the next competition on the list is John Wayne Gacy versus Andrei. How do you say that?
Andrei.
Take a crack at that. Andrei. It's really the last name.
Dude, it's fucking tiny.
Chikatilo or whatever.
Chikatilo? Chikatilo? I don't know. I think he's a Russian guy.
Matalo.
Russian dog.
Chikatilo.
So John Wayne Gacy, probably best known for dressing up as a clown.
Yeah. He was a neighborhood clown, a really well-liked guy, well-liked by the kids.
Didn't he meet the First Lady or the President or something at some point?
I think he met the First Lady, yeah.
Yeah, he was a prominent Republican. He was a businessman, community organizer.
Just a really well-known, well-liked guy. And this is why I think he's one of the more interesting serial killers.
Right, because he was able
not
to...
at the edges of society. He's part of it.
Yeah, he killed 33 teenage boys and young men between 1972 and 1978.
Hey, put him in the crawl space underneath his fucking house, dude.
You got... Let me just pull up a picture of him in his clown makeup for you guys.
Further lending credence to the clowns are creepy and you shouldn't trust them theory.
That definitely does kind of give you a sense of like, oh.
Clowns.
And not only that, he's just like way creepy in general. This is not... I don't know, maybe it's just knowing that he's ended up being a killer and all, but I'm pretty sure that clown is creepy regardless.
I mean, it only is in context. You got to understand, like, these people wouldn't have liked him if in color and in person that he was a creepy presence in that, That's what made him such a good hide in plain sight serial killer. Because, we look back on it, we project all the horrible things that he did onto this clown.
I think I said he was a Republican. He was actually a Democrat.
Okay. But yeah, no, he's not. You know what I mean? Like, he really was, like...
Here he is with First Lady Rosalind Carter.
There you go.
You know, there he is, shaking her hand, being all friendly and shit.
What the fuck do you expect him to be like? I'm evil. Hey guys, I'm evil.
Well, no, I mean it's just like
I murder teenage boys.
I mean, like a lot of these serial killers are people that are on the fringes of society in some way.
Wasn't he kind of like a repressed homosexual too?
Well, yeah. I mean,
obviously, yeah.
That's why he was killing men and boys.
You know, I mean. So, dude, I mean, maybe if he lived now, he'd just be fucking chilling in the Castro district in San Francisco or something, you know, sucking a dick.
And,
sucking a joint, whatever.
He had his little sex slaves. He liked to bury the bodies under his house.
There was a sexual component to his crimes. He would lay out the bodies of the boys after he'd killed them and touch them and kiss them. So it was a very kind of repressed sexuality element to him. And, you know, I mean, look at how he was.
He
living.
also
was in this little white picket fence community.
He was a painter. This is something he painted in prison.
So it's him and the Seven Dwarves.
Yeah. A terrible rendition of the Seven Dwarves just kind of gathered around him.
What's it say there in the middle?
I'm Pogo.
I'm Pogo.
Because that was his
Pogo
clown name. He's Pogo the Clown.
Whoa, dude.
So he's pretty fucking crazy. 33 victims. Well liked by his community, respected businessman. There was even people who asked him, like, why do you always hire teenage boys? He's like, oh, well, they're good workers.
Right.
It's like, no, that's not why.
Yeah. I think we know the real reason.
Yeah. So let's take a look at Andrei here. Dig a little deeper.
Andrei Chikatilo.
Andrei Chikatilo.
This was the chessboard killer?
No, this is not the chessboard killer. This is a guy who was a brutal rapist and murderer in the Soviet Union, former Soviet Union.
Oh, damn.
He would sexually assault, murder, and mutilate at least 52 women and children between 1978 and 1990. Long reign for this guy.
So he's got the numbers too. I mean, we got to consider it. It's not the only thing we're considering, but the numbers game is real here.
So what was his MO? Like, what did he do that?
He felt like he was kind of like compelled by just like dark forces within himself. Like he was the guy that we read the quote from him where he's like, I'm a mistake of nature and I should be killed. Like he was kind of relieved when he was caught because he was like, man, I just feel so powerless to
stop myself.
Yeah, he couldn't stop himself.
So kind of like he just gave in to his demons, and he just had to keep, like, he had said this compulsion just to murder and kill women and children. He just couldn't resist the urge to do it.
Yeah, so he was just, I mean, then and they took him, and you know, because it's Russia, they just took him out and fucking shot him in the head. You know.
Yeah, it's like, you are guilty. Boom.
I think also, what time was he operating?
Was it the 70s to the 90s?
It was from 1979 to 1990. 1978 to 1990.
So this is like the end of the Cold War and the beginning of the collapse of the Soviet Union. So there's a lot of fucking, chaos in the country at this time that allows him to get away with a lot of this, probably.
Well, also probably, I don't know what his, like I said, how, if he just stalked his victims or if he just, picked a victim randomly and just killed them. But I mean,
when he was arrested, there was actually rotten human flesh in his digestive tract.
Wow.
So, he was a pretty crazy fuck, for sure. Here's a picture of the guy if you want to take a look at him.
Can't see him. Oh, wow, dude.
Yeah, I mean, like, you don't think for a second, like, this is a sane person.
Fuck no, dude.
I wonder what he did. He was also known as Rostov Ripper and Butcher of Rostov. I'm trying to figure out what the fuck he did for a living. I guess he served in the army at one point. He was a teaching career. Let's take a look. I guess he sexually assaulted as a teacher. His first known sexual assault was against one of his pupils. He swam towards a 15-year-old girl and groped her breasts and genitals, ejaculating as the girl struggled against his grasp.
Dude.
Yeah.
If I remember this, I saw something about this guy too.
Yeah?
So it was crazy because I remember when you said the school teacher shit. That's when I started remembering. Yeah, like he was a school teacher and like he was reported to do this shit. And they're kind of just like, that's fucked up. Just move him. And then he kept going.
Move him to a different school.
Yeah.
The Catholic method.
Yeah, the Catholic Church method of murder.
I mean, and like this dude like did like crazy, like he murdered a kid, and then like they like traced it back to his house or something, where the shack he was living in because he was like a drunk. And he's like, no, it wasn't me. And they're like, all right,
Yeah,
fair enough.
Good old Russian law enforcement.
So I mean, it was just total
comrade.
police incompetence in this case as well.
Crazy.
Well, how do you guys feel about these two guys, Gacy and Chikatilo?
Well, you know what?
It's not hard. It's not easy.
I think that you got to give it to Gacy just because his name and the clown thing and
That does give it a little.
the fact that he was
creepier.
able to hide what he was from people, like, and seem like, I mean, not just like he's not getting caught, but he's a respected pillar of the community.
He's someone
and
like
shit.
when people found out this guy was
shaking hands with the first lady. I mean,
well, it's like you imagine knowing your neighbor, then you find out they did this shit. It's like kind of like, huh? Like this person, it just doesn't compute. You don't expect John Wayne Gacy as a person. You know, it's just another fat dude in the community. It's like that dude fucking murdered a bunch of teenagers. Like really?
crazy.
So I mean, and like the gimmick and the MO is just kind of, I don't know.
I think Andrei is a pretty interesting fellow, but
he is, but not,
I gotta give it to the fucking.
It doesn't capture your attention the same way.
Yeah, the imagination I feel is way more captured by.
You know what sold me is that painting, dude. Just like he's in prison, it's like I am Pogo. It's like what the?
I'm Pogo.
Yes, you are.
Yeah, I guess you really are,
crazy
dude.
fuck.
And the audience seems like they comfortably agree with that anyway. So
I like that choice.
Ed Gein versus David Parker Ray.
You know a lot about Ed Gein, don't you, TJ?
I don't.
You don't?
Not really.
I thought I've. You like Albert Fish? Did he end up on this?
Yeah, he's on there.
Okay,
He's
yeah,
on
yeah,
there.
yeah. You know about him. Okay, I get them mixed up.
I don't think he's
sometimes.
going to get very far because of his very low victim count.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, that's not.
Didn't Ed Gein kill his brother too, if I remember right?
I don't know. Let's see.
It was something like that. Like
He was known as the Butcher of Plainfield.
yeah, I think he killed in like the 30s or something, or the 20s, or
I'm not sure. Let's take a look. Widespread notoriety after authorities discovered the Gein had exhumed corpses from local graveyards.
like
and
he did some
fashioned
fucked up
trophies.
shit with it.
He was
dude.
obsessed with bodies. I do know that.
He
about
was
him.
like his house was like one of those things where like it was bizarre when they actually went to his house
It's
and
all
found.
decorated with bones.
Yeah,
and shit,
dude.
Yeah.
Wasn't like
He
it was like
was-
the skin lamps and shit.
Yeah, he liked to. He got off on that kind of shit.
Like
Just
dissecting people.
It's almost like that ICP song, "Dead Bodies." Where he's
Yeah.
just rapping about how that he just loves having bodies around. Gein was really like that. He was initially found unfit to stand trial because he was just too fucking nuts. But in 1968, he was found guilty but legally insane of the murder of Warden and was remanded to a psychiatric institution. He died at Mendota Mental Health Institute of cancer-induced liver and respiratory failure at age 77. He is buried next to his family in the Plainfield Cemetery in a now unmarked grave. So just look for the Gein section and then find the one that's not marked,
Yeah,
and
find
that's
the blank
yeah.
one. And
that's
know
where you could take a piss on him if you so desire.
or leave him some flowers. depending
Yeah,
on-
whatever your feelings
I mean,
may
come
be.
on, dude. Are you forgetting who your guest is tonight, TJ?
Oh yeah, I keep forgetting that. I'm sorry.
I'm insulted by your insinuation that just because Ed was a serial killer, like I am, are you going to piss on? You know what? Never mind. I don't even need to ask.
You know what, Paul?
I thought
I
you
mean,
were gonna
not
kill
Paul.
me, so I won't have the
grave
opportunity to piss on your
because
grave.
tonight, when you go to sleep, motherfucker, I'm going to piss on your grave after I slit your throat, drink your blood, and puke it all over your dead ass, glassy eyed face.
We need the hashtag serial killer lives matter, dude.
They do.
They do.
Ed Gein was a person. Okay, TJ.
He might have done.
Piss on
He
his
might have
grave.
done some terrible things.
Serial killer lives
But
matter.
TJ, Ed Gein is dead now. He's at peace. TJ can't hurt anybody.
I'm trying to find a goddamn victim count for this fucker.
What was his kill count?
It's not. I mean, it's not.
don't think it was very
displaying
high.
as prominently.
Wasn't it like killed like 8 people or something.
I'm trying to figure it out.
I'm trying to remember, dude. Like, I saw like a biography on his life too. I've seen biographies on a lot of these people.
It seems like it's not really very clear what his fucking death count was. Victim count. I mean, tell me how many people he fucking killed, bitch. Fuck's wrong with you? I mean, it looks like he only confessed to 2 murders. I don't know. I'm sure he probably killed more than that.
I think it was hard to identify because of all the bodies he had in his house. Like, they weren't sure if he had killed the people and then dissect them or cut them up or whatever.
Yeah, I guess it's not really known what his victim count was. I'm not seeing any...
Which could be construed as points for him because he was so good that, you know, they never found a lot of the people he killed or couldn't name all of them. So he just kind of operated with impunity. And they only got him on a charge of a couple of people.
Yeah, so the other guy we're taking a look at, and by the way, here's, I'll just quickly show you guys a picture of Ed Gein in case you want to take a look. Friendly looking fellow.
Yeah, it just looks like the type of guy that would be running the gas station in a shit town somewhere down here.
Looks like a fucking tramp, dude.
Yep.
The other guy is David Parker Ray.
Yeah, that's the
David Parker
the
Ray.
toy box killer.
Right.
Toy box killer. Suspected American serial killer and known torturer of women. Though no bodies were found, he was accused by his accomplices of killing several people and suspected by police of having murdered as many as 60 people from Arizona to New Mexico while living in Elephant Butte, New Mexico, approximately 7 miles north of Truth or Consequences. He soundproofed a truck trailer that he called his toy box and equipped it with items for sexual torture. Ray was convicted of kidnapping and torture in 2001, for which he received a lengthy sentence, but he was never convicted of murder. He died of a heart attack about 1 year after his conviction in 2 cases, the second of which resulted in a plea deal. Dude, this dude looks like my fucking, like the biggest asshole science teacher I ever had, dude.
He does. Some vice principal or some shit.
Yeah, like he looks like some school administrator faggot.
Meanwhile, he was like fucking abusing, torturing, and killing women, dude. Well,
Yeah.
allegedly killing women.
Let's see what he actually did for a fucking living. I'm pretty sure this is the guy that that did, like I said, like he would play recordings for the women to let them know, like, if you obey me, you might be allowed to live, but if not, you will die. I guess when he was a teenager, his sister discovered his sadomasochistic drawings, and I guess he had some erotic photographs of bondage acts. After completing high school, he worked as an auto mechanic, received an honorable discharge from the U.S. Army, where his service also included work as a general mechanic. So he was a mechanically inclined fellow. Mm-hmm. He was divorced 4 times, had 2 children, including Glenda Jean Jessie Ray. I don't know why it felt the need to tell me the name of one of his kids, including the world-renowned Glenda Jean Jessie Ray. His crimes, he sexually tortured and presumably killed his victims using whips, chains, pulleys, straps, clamps, leg spreader bars, surgical blades, and saws. Dude. It really was his fucking toy box.
I mean, there's a fucking hell of a repertoire there. I mean,
it is thought that he terrorized many women with those tools. Inside the torture room, along with numerous sex toys, torture implements, syringes, and detailed diagrams showing different methods of techniques for inflicting pain, there was a homemade electrical generator that was used for torture. A mirror was mounted in the ceiling above the gynecologist-type table upon which he strapped his victims. Ray would also put his victims in wooden contraptions that bent them over and immobilized them, while he had his dogs and sometimes other friends rape them.
Wow.
What the fuck, dude?
He has been said to have wanted his victims to see everything he was doing to them during the torture sessions. Ray would often have a recorded audio tape of himself played for his victims whenever they regained consciousness. So yeah, this is the guy I was thinking about. And basically what happened is you'd be a girl that, you'd wake up in his fucking playhouse or whatever, and it'd basically be this message about how if you cooperated with him and dealt with what he was going to give you, then you'd get out of this alive, which of course was a lie.
Right.
But it was designed to, give them some hope of like, I can survive this,
and make them more compliant.
Right, so they'd be more compliant with him. Ed Gein might be the more famous, but this guy, for my money, is way fucking crazy.
Did a way better serial killer.
Yeah,
dude.
I think so too. I mean, Ed Gein has the creepy factor though, and he has the big question mark hanging over him of
That is true, because we don't really know how many people he killed.
And
he did like to decorate his house with body parts. So, I mean, it is a tough one, honestly.
Ed Gein was convicted. This guy was never convicted.
Let's take a look at what the audience has said so far. They're feeling Gein.
They're feeling Ed Gein, but he's got that name recognition though, like David Parker Ray don't got,
Yeah, I mean,
this is tough, dude.
This is a tough one.
I mean, we can go with what the audience says. Pretty significant in the audience's eyes, and I mean, I don't think that David Parker Ray is being fucking robbed or anything.
No,
because I mean, Ed Gein was a pretty creepy fuck. Had a bunch of dead, had lamps made out of human skin and shit. I mean, that's pretty damn weird.
Let's say this. Let's give people a couple more minutes to vote.
I mean, yeah, we've gone over the facts of both of them now. But, I mean, they've had plenty of time to fucking vote on this. I mean,
we can move on to the next one and come back.
What I'm saying, though, is that we didn't, if this is going to be determined by vote, people should have more time. Because we said that the votes are not going to be binding, remember?
All right, so we actually are going to need your vote on this one, guys. You've heard about Ed Gein, you've heard about David Parker Ray. Let us know which one you think is the better serial killer by whatever criteria you choose to judge
we'll come
that
back
by.
To that in a minute.
So Charles Edmund Cullen versus Ed Kemper. And let me remind myself who the Ed Kemper guy was.
That's the co-ed killer.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's pretty fucking nuts.
Yep.
There was a story I saw about him. He did a bunch of interviews and shit with the police. Or, with the media. So you could actually watch video of this guy talking.
There's some really creepy fucking interviews they do with
He tells some pretty crazy stories about, like, he's walking by these girls and he's got this duffel bag and he's like, these girls don't have any idea that there's like other girls' heads in the bag as I'm walking by them.
Yeah, he really had a thrill about that kind of stuff. Like, I'm getting away with this. And he also loved how trusting people were. He's like, man, they're so trusting. Like, let's get in the car with me. Because he picked up hitchhikers. These girls like, I want to get over here. Give me a ride.
Yep.
You go, okay. Then
what would have happened if he would have picked up Eileen Wuornos, dude?
Oh, shit,
I don't know. The ultimate battle.
The worlds collide!
He was born in California. Apparently had a shitty childhood, surprisingly.
Hated his mother.
His mom was abusive towards him. Apparently, when he was 15, he actually murdered his paternal grandparents. He was diagnosed as suffering from paranoid schizophrenia and was put into a state hospital for criminally insane juveniles. He was released at the age of 21 after convincing a psychiatrist that he was rehabilitated. He was regarded as non-threatening by his victims, would typically target young female hitchhikers, lure them into his car, drive them off to a secluded area, murder them, take their corpse back home, dismember it, and fuck it, and all kinds of things with it. Then he, finally, after he got sick of murdering all these proxies for his mother, he actually murdered her, and I believe he turned himself in.
Yeah.
At that point. Yeah, he had an IQ of 145, which is genius level, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was pretty crazy fuck. But, did I show him? I did show him.
You did.
And he's up against today Charles Edmund Cullen.
The Angel of Death.
Has one of the coolest serial killer names. Although I don't know if his crime really is as cool.
He was born February 22nd, 1960. American serial killer. Confessed that he killed up to 40 patients during his 16-year career as a nurse in New Jersey. However, he in later interviews, it became apparent he'd killed way more than that. Apparently, experts have estimated he might be responsible for up to 400 deaths, which would make him the most prolific serial killer in U.S. history.
You think about it, too. I mean, it's almost the perfect place. I mean, these people are old and sick, so it's like,
yeah,
they
where's
died.
a place where people die all the time?
Right.
hospital. So it's just like, your crimes could just go uncovered forever if you were careful enough.
He liked to just overdose his patients. Obviously, these nurse killers tend to kill in the same way. They just give you too much of a drug and you die. And no one really thinks anything of it because you were already sick in the hospital in the intensive care unit anyway. So, your life was already a coin flip at that point. He was arrested on December 12th, 2003, charged with 1 count of murder and 1 count of attempted murder. Of course, they later found out he did much more. He pleaded guilty to the murder of 3 more patients in New Jersey. In November 2004, Cullen pleaded guilty in Allentown to killing 6 patients and trying to kill 3 others. He was sentenced ultimately to 18 consecutive life sentences in New Jersey. Obviously, he's not eligible for parole. Actually, he is eligible for parole, but not until the year 2403.
Oh, cool.
Don't think he's going to quite make it.
I mean, you never know.
Yeah, you got to keep that optimism. Keep them spirits up. Apparently, he was given another 6 life sentences later on.
Just to add, insult to injury.
Now, I think that pretty much kills all hope.
Yeah, like I said, why don't they just fucking say life in prison, that's it. End of story. Like, he's never getting out.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why they do this. Like, you are sentenced to 3 million years
37,
in prison.
You're given 37.
You'll be eligible for parole in 3036.
I think it's because then, let's say he wins the thing on appeal, that he doesn't walk free. So it's pretty much impossible for him to ever leave a jail cell. Long and the short of it.
This is crazy. It says experts state that Cullen was largely able to move from facility to facility undetected because of the lack of requirements to report on suspicious behavior by medical workers and inadequate legal protection for employers. New Jersey and Pennsylvania, like most states, required healthcare facilities to report suspicious deaths only in the most egregious cases.
Like, obviously,
and penalties for failing to report the incidents were minor.
Yeah, basically you can poison with arsenic or something.
Yeah, so basically, someone had to be, blatantly and obviously murdered for you to be required to report it. And even if
you would do that anyways.
And even if you didn't in that case,
it's a slap on
it
the
was
wrist.
all right, well,
so if you walked in and somebody had a butcher knife sticking out of their chest and they were dead, you could, maybe I'll report this, or maybe we'll just put a sheet over it and take it to the morgue.
Yeah, I don't need more fucking paperwork tonight. Let's be real. So here this fucker is.
The angel.
Just kind of looks sad.
Well, I mean, he's caught there.
Yeah, sure.
He probably looked a lot happier when he was out working.
He was freeing people from pain, TJ.
That's true. And his motive was that he wanted to spare them from pain. He spared them from being coded, quote unquote, going into cardiac or respiratory arrests and being listed as code blue emergency. He told detectives he could not bear to witness or hear about attempts at saving a victim's life. Cullen also stated he gave patients overdoses so he could end their suffering and prevent hospital personnel from dehumanizing them. However, not all his victims were terminal patients. Some, like Gall, I don't know, had been expected to recover before Cullen killed them.
Oh, my God.
So the whole, end their suffering argument don't really work too great there. I mean, I guess, maybe she was going to live and suffer, and he just didn't want that.
Life is suffering.
Yeah. So I don't know. I feel like the misguided motive there. It's too good intentioned.
Yeah, it kind of removes him from the running here, in my opinion. Not necessarily because, I like his idea of preying on people where it's not going to be noticed and not have it be homeless people. I mean, it's kind of an ingenious place for somebody who does my job to do their work. But yeah, he seemed like he really didn't. It wasn't about the kill for him. It was a mercy.
Yeah, and that's gay. So we gotta fucking say,
Ed Kemper, dude.
Ed Kemper advances.
The co-ed killer.
Why don't we
the
go
audience agrees anyway.
Why don't we go check the...
Let's go back and check on these results.
Ooh,
a little closer now.
Tightened up, but
I think Ed Gein is still comfortably in the lead. Let's go ahead and capitulate. So it's the Doodler.
I'm the Doodler.
Versus Donald Henry Gaskins.
Okay.
The hitchhiker.
So the Doodler we know was a guy that he was never caught.
He liked
we
to
already
doodle.
looked at his Cro-Magnon ass. He liked to draw 'em. He liked to draw people and then kill them.
Yeah, he'd like use that to. He'd sketch them.
Yeah, he'd sketch them up and he'd murder them. And a few victims escaped but didn't want to testify for some dumbass reason, so he was never convicted or nothing ever happened to him. We don't even know what his real name was. As for Donald Henry Gaskins, this is a creepy looking fuck. This is the best we got on this fucker.
This was the guy that picked people up and murdered them and tortured them and shit.
Whoa.
Looks like he would do it. Yeah, I believe that.
9 victims he was convicted of. 100 plus victims is his claim.
Like, who hops into this guy's car, though, is the question.
I know, right?
Yeah, I don't know, man.
You're like, you know what, mister? I'm going to go ahead and take the next one. Bye. Have a good one.
So, apparently he was regularly raped by his fellow inmates in reform school. He was sent to reform school as a boy and they just liked to rape the shit out of him, I guess. After escaping from the school, getting married, and voluntarily returning to complete his sentence, he was released at the age of 18 in 1951. He then went to work for a tobacco plantation. He was arrested in 1953 and charged with attempted murder after using a hammer to attack a teenage girl who he claimed had been insulting him. He was sentenced to 6 years in prison for that. Apparently, he went right back to getting raped some more.
Jesus.
He was raped and owned in prison.
Owned?
Yeah, he was
Like
owned.
somebody.
He was somebody's bitch.
Like he was someone's total bitch. But
Grab my
apparently,
pocket, bitch.
he was able to escape that life by killing one of the most feared men in the prison to prove, hey, I'm not just rape meat. I can also kill people.
Right.
So he received an extra 3 years for that. But from that point on, he became the aggressor instead of the victim. So he hit his snapping point. It's like, I have taken one too many dicks in my ass, and now I'm going to be the dick.
Right.
Yeah.
He actually escaped from prison in 1955 by hiding in the back of a garbage truck. He fled to Florida, where he became a carny. This dude's life doesn't even sound real, dude.
I know, dude. You couldn't.
They should make a
this
fucking
life.
movie of this guy's life, dude. This is insane.
Following his release from prison, he started doing burglaries and some fencing of stolen property.
Started
and
off
shit.
small, some burglaries. Steal the shit, sell it.
He raped a 12-year-old girl,
Wonderful.
but absconded while awaiting sentence. Absconded. What a fancy word. He was arrested in Georgia and sentenced to 8 years of imprisonment. He was paroled in 1968.
Wait. What about the other jail sentence he didn't even complete?
I guess they didn't care.
They didn't give a shit.
His first non-prison related murder was a hitchhiker who he tortured and murdered in September 1969. He sunk her body in the swamp.
So this is someone with like a total damaged fucking psyche.
I guess he wrote memoirs.
He did?
Cool.
In the memoirs, he said, all I could think about is how I could do anything I wanted to her. The hitchhiker was to be the first of many he picked up and killed while driving around the coastal highways of the American South.
So this is like some fucking power play for this guy.
Yeah, it's like a revenge.
Yeah, it's like
I've been powerless for so long.
I was raped and fucking tortured. Now I'm going to be the rape and torturer, damn it.
Yeah.
He classified these victims as coastal kills. He killed both men and women, and he killed purely for the pleasure of killing. On average, approximately once every 6 weeks, he would kill somebody. Because otherwise, he would feel what he described as bothersomeness.
Okay.
Well,
I'm feeling that bothersomeness building again.
Gotta wait 6
Gonna
weeks.
Have to kill TJ.
He tortured and mutilated his victims, attempted to keep them alive as long as possible, wanted them to suffer a lot, I guess. Used a variety of methods to kill: stabbing, suffocation, mutilation, cannibalized some of them. He said he killed 80 to 90 victims. Although his claims to have committed any coastal kills have never been corroborated. In his autobiography, Final Truth, Gaskins claims to have committed coastal kills every 6 weeks, yet contradicts this claim later in the book by stating that he felt the overpowering need to seek out and commit a coastal kill by the 10th date of each calendar month.
I mean, yeah, obviously.
So this guy has...
You gotta take this with a grain of salt, of course.
This guy is obviously trying to write his own legend to a certain extent.
Right.
Of course.
But I still think he's got to beat out the Doodler.
He does.
Yeah, he definitely beats the Doodler's ass.
Yeah, they say the Doodler. They
just
suck.
like the Doodler.
They like the
Yeah.
name. I understand. I do too. But
It is a good name, but
This
no.
dude was way-
He's a better serial killer.
So Son of Sam versus the Human Dracula.
Fucking howling dogs.
So Son of Sam, he was told by his dog to kill.
Yeah, he said that they communicated. I remember watching this.
Paul,
like,
you told me the other... I'm sorry. John X?
Yes.
John X.
Paul, my friend Paul told me the other day that he thought that Summer of Sam was the best serial killer movie. Would you agree with
I
that?
tend to agree with that. Yeah. It's really hard to do a movie about a serial killer because if you look at a movie like Monster, it doesn't really try to make Aileen a sympathetic character, but it works because I think she's a female. And so there's a little bit of sympathy about her, but really trying to look at one of these dudes and follow them as the protagonist of a story is kind of hard. I like that Summer of Sam doesn't try and do that. It instead looks at the effect that his killing spree had on the neighborhood that he was killing in and how people reacted to it. And we still get a look at him. We still get to see his craziness. But it's kind of the lens of like how these murders affect the communities that they happen in. And I like that.
What about that appeals to you so much?
Because I think it's more human than trying to humanize people that don't think like human beings. Like, honestly, one of the reasons why we're so fascinated by serial killers, why you are so fascinated by serial killers like me and these fellows, is because our brains don't work the same way as the average person does.
This is really interesting. So the reason why it was called the Son of Sam, his neighbor, retiree Sam Carr, had a black Labrador retriever named Harvey, who Berkowitz believed pleaded with him to kill. He also saw Sam Carr as a powerful demon and was referring to him when he later called himself the Son of Sam.
So his insanity kind of started because that dog would bark, and it drove him nuts. And then eventually, he started to hear it speaking to him, and that's what drove his. And he was a particularly brutal murderer.
Killed 6, wounded 8.
His weapon of choice was a .44 caliber handgun, which did a lot of damage, to the people. And he would walk up on. He was kind of a lover's lane type of killer. He would find couples and people, young people, kind of sitting in their cars or whatever, just chilling, making out, sitting in cars together, smoking, and he'd walk up on them with his gun and blow them away,
having a grand old time.
Just leave them there, and caused a lot of panic and stuff. And,
so isn't the dog the real killer? Shouldn't we have him on here?
Well,
it's Harvey, dude. Harvey done it.
The dog, the real killers in these instances always get away. I mean, you've never seen somebody putting a demon on trial, True. How many people like this have they?
I mean, well, this is clearly what happened. There's a demon moved in next door.
Mm-hmm.
His little demonic dog, and they're like, "Hey, well, there's a human here. Let's fuck with this. Let's drive this guy crazy, make him kill, and then he'll blame us, but no one will believe him." That's perfect.
Well, see, demons are smart enough that like the human that was there was just cover for the actual demon, which was the dog. He was just a toady of the dog demon.
Oh shit, dude.
See,
so
the dog's the real fucking
cover.
Demon OG.
I know how these demons work. I've got one of my own.
Gonna exercise your fucking demons, dude.
So
between those two,
it's time to look up
the next one,
the Human Dracula, which his name is what Tatsuyami, whatever the fucking bullshit.
Tatsumo, no. Trying to fucking.
He's a Japanese
I know his last
guy.
name is Miyazaki.
Tsutomu Miyazaki. That's his fucking name. Only 4 victims for this guy. Also known as the Otaku Murderer, or the little girl murderer, Japanese serial killer, cannibal, and necrophile who abducted and murdered 4 girls in Saitama and Tokyo prefectures from August 1988 to June 1989. His crimes included vampirism and preservation of body parts as trophies. So this guy kind of has that same blood-drinking thing you like, John.
He was a big inspiration for me.
Apparently, he had deformed hands. They were much like our president, which were permanently gnarled and fused directly to the wrist, which means he needed to move his entire forearm in order to rotate the hand. Due to his deformity, he was ostracized in elementary school, and as a consequence, he just kind of kept to himself. He attended Madai Nakano High School in Nakano, Tokyo. He was a star student until his grades dropped dramatically. So I guess he was, showing some promise, and then maybe his psychological issues got to him or whatever. He's ranked 40 out of 56 in his class. He did not receive the customary admission to Meiji University. Instead of studying English and becoming a teacher as he originally intended, he attended a local junior college and studied to become a photo technician.
So basically, his life goes off the rails. Like he doesn't really.
Yeah, he doesn't really achieve
total
his
academic
dreams
failure,
and all that
which,
shit.
Which in a country like Japan is a lot more brutal than it is here.
Right, because they place such fucking standards on that.
Importance on work, yeah.
Yeah. So he mutilated and killed these 4 girls between the ages of 4 and 7, sexually molested the corpses, drank the blood of one of his victims, ate part of her hand, which is kind of, his hands were fucked up. He eats her hand. I don't know. Probably a connection there. These crimes, which prior to Miyazaki's apprehension were named the Little Girl Murders, and later the Tokyo Saitama serial kidnapping murders of little girls. Man, Japanese people, you guys are not good at concise names for things. I'm just going to tell you that. Shocked Saitama Prefecture, which had few crimes against children. He was a mild-mannered guy. Outside of work, he randomly selected children to kill. He wrote to the families of his victims, sending them letters recalling the details of his murders. So he liked to brag to the families.
This guy is a fucking grade A fucking asshole and serial killer, dude. I mean, he goes beyond like just saying
not
Zodiac.
only did I kill your kid, but here's a fucking graphic description for you of how I'd done it.
That goes even beyond like the Zodiac writing the letters to like the newspaper and shit. It's like that's literally like going to the parents and be like, "Ha ha, I fucking murdered your kid.
I murdered your damn kids, bitch."
I really think the news media is kind of bad too at giving serial killer nicknames sometimes, like the Human Dracula.
This is Japan we're talking about.
That's what I'm saying, though. But, like, even in Japan, that's pretty terrible. Like, why didn't they just, like, take the really obvious one and just call him Japacula?
Japacula, dude.
Like, why not? Well, how's the Human Dracula better than Japacula?
I don't know if Japacula's all that much better.
Come on, Japacula's pretty good, dude.
I don't know about that.
Japacula!
I think you got a boner for it, dude. I don't know about it.
I mean, I'd rather be Japacula than the Human Dracula.
I will drink your blood.
I drink your blood.
I drink your blood. So,
all right, so
what do the people think?
The people say 51 votes for Son of Sam, 39 for the Human Dracula.
I mean, I tend to agree on Son of Sam. I mean, not everybody's told to kill people by a dog.
I mean, it's a tough one.
Too special. I never heard of the Tsutomu Miyazaki until we started
the
doing
fucking
this shit.
demon dog just kind of seals the deal for Son of Sam.
Son of Sam.
It really just does, dude. You just think about the fucking fact that the dog is fucking telling you, like, go kill those motherfuckers, and you're like, all right, shit.
H.H. Holmes.
Ooh, dude, this guy killed a lot of fucking people.
And he was in a very creative way there. Let me just see if I can pull up just his picture here.
This is the guy at the fucking crazy murder house, dude.
Yeah, he built a big old murder house. Confessed to 27 murders, only 9 could be plausibly confirmed. Obviously a sophisticated gentleman of class here.
And this was also the inspiration for, was it House of 1,000 Corpses?
Maybe.
I'm pretty sure it was.
Some have said he killed as many as 200 people. Seems kind of suspect to me.
Nice little
Yeah, he's
bowler.
dapper, dude. He's dapper.
Nice mustache, bowler hat, dude.
Well-kept mustache, well-heeled, well-dressed, nice
Good day.
bowler. A good day to you, H.H. Holmes Esquire.
He ran a hotel, which was informally called the Murder Hotel. Don't book a night at the Murder Hotel.
That's not a good, yeah.
Evidence suggests that the hotel portion was never truly open for business. Boo. Besides being a serial killer, Holmes was also a con artist and a bigamist, the subject of more than 50 lawsuits in Chicago alone. Many now common stories of his crimes sprang from fictional accounts that later authors took for fact. However, in a 2017 biography, Adam Seltzer wrote that Holmes' story is effectively a new American tall tale, and like all the best tall tales, it sprang from a kernel of truth.
Sure.
I'm disappointed. I'm saddened by this.
Yeah.
I you know what? I didn't want this figure demythologized, dude. I wanted him to be the crazy dude with the fucking murder house that was full of traps and shit.
Yeah, a lot of that's just bullshit.
So that kind of sucks.
Hot sauce, man.
So he killed a few people, and man, I don't know. I'm just disappointed now.
Yeah, dude. I mean, H.H. Holmes, like,
Boo.
Yeah, I didn't realize that, but
Boo.
goddamn, just a lot of hot sauce on that. That's kind of disappointing.
Gay. Boo, boo,
I almost want
boo.
to fucking eliminate him based on that.
Gay,
I feel like
gay.
he fucking lied to us,
Yeah,
dude.
Paul Knowles wins by default.
Yep.
Yeah, if it's all a bunch of bullshit,
H.H.
fuck him.
Holmes sucks. Look at all the votes for him, too. You guys probably didn't know it was all bullshit, did you?
Oops.
Hey, man, neither do we.
I'm sad.
You live, you learn, fellas.
Damn, dude, that's like fucking. That's really
It's a
disappointing.
really, really popular urban legend that has just been propagated forever. Because I've believed that every day of my life up
Until
right now.
today.
Yeah, the murder house, dude. Just like, yeah, dude, this guy, this crazy fucking hotel where he murdered people and they had like dead ends and the doors were nailed shut and all this crazy shit.
Another gentleman of
Yes.
sophistication.
Good day, sir.
Hamilton Howard Albert Fish was an American serial killer, lived from 1870 to 1936. He was also known as the Gray Man, the Werewolf of Wisteria, the Brooklyn Vampire. Vampire in Brooklyn's a terrible movie, by the way. Not that it has anything to do with anything. The Moon Maniac and the Boogeyman. It's got a lot of fucking nicknames.
He's a creepy looking fuck, dude.
Well, it's kind of funny you say that because one of the things he had going for him is apparently people didn't think so at the time. People thought he had
certainly,
a very...
He certainly does to me. Like the fucking those
People thought he looked very trustworthy.
What?
Yeah, they did. I don't know.
The standard of trustworthy back then must have been a lot fucking different. If this dude was walking down the
he's
street
got
like,
the fucking Grand Moff Tarkin cheekbones, for fuck's sake.
yeah, if it was like, good day, sir, I'd be like, you step on the other side of the road, bitch.
Yep.
Just walk away
Don't
from
cut
me.
Child rapist and cannibal, boasted that he had children in every state. At one time stated the number was about 100. However, it is not known whether he was referring to rapes or cannibalizations, nor is it known if the statement was truthful. Probably wasn't. He was a huge liar. Suspect in at least 5 murders during his lifetime. Fish confessed to 3 murders that police were able to trace to a known homicide, and he confessed to stabbing at least 2 other people. He was put on trial for the kidnapping and murder of Grace Budd and was convicted and executed by electric chair. His crimes were dramatized in the 2007 film The Gray Man, starring Patrick Bouchaud as Fish. Crazy about him, he also liked to write letters
To the victims'
to the
families?
victims' families.
What do you think that is? Because I don't do that to my victims.
Maybe he just wants to brag to the people who are most affected by it, you know, to the people who
he
are going to
gets
have
all-
the greatest emotional impact.
The grief is part of the what they get off on then?
Yeah, it's like, yeah, I made
the
that family
suffering.
grieve.
I mean, why else would you do it? I mean, you want them to
I mean,
know.
if you're a total sadist, you know,
Right.
obviously you as a serial killer are not sadistic
he
enough
described
to
the
write
murders to,
families.
to them too. I mean, so that makes it even worse. Like, so, it's like I want you know your loved one's dead. They were murdered. You know, you don't really know what happened. You know, and then it's like, no, I'm gonna tell you exactly how their final moments were. Like,
So you
this
want to
is
know
what I
how
did to them.
trustworthy this motherfucker apparently looked back in the day to people? The way he killed Grace Budd is he went to her family's house and he's like, "Oh, what a pretty little girl you have. Would you like me to take her to this party somewhere?" And they're like, "Sure."
Whoa.
And then he fucking ran off with her, took her to a building somewhere and fucking killed her. Unknown method.
How fucking stupid. I mean, like,
I
these
could
parents
actually
are
read you
fucking
the letter
dicks,
he
dude.
writes to him. The whole letter is too long, but I'll read you the excerpt where he describes what he did. On Sunday, June the 3rd, 1928, I called on you at 406 West 15th Street, brought you pot cheese strawberries. We had lunch. Grace sat in my lap and kissed me. I made up my mind to eat her on the pretense of taking her to a party. You said yes, she could go. Why? Why would you? Why would you trust fucking Grand Moff Tarkin to fuck? Okay, whatever.
It was different back
May
then.
I go and eat your child? Surely
I took her
you
to
shall,
an empty
sir.
house in Westchester I'd already picked out. When we got there, I told her to remain outside. She picked wildflowers. I went upstairs and stripped off all my clothes. I knew if I did not, I would get blood on them. When all was ready, I went to the window and called her. Then I hid in a closet until she was in the room. When she saw me all naked, she began to cry and tried to run downstairs. I grabbed her, and she said that she would tell her mama. First, I stripped her naked, how she did kick, bite, and scratch. I choked her to death, then cut her into small pieces so I could take my meat to my rooms, cook and eat it. How sweet and tender her little ass was roasted in the oven. It took me 9 days to eat her entire body. I did not fuck her, though I could have had I wished. She died a virgin. Well, at least he didn't fuck her, you know?
Well, yeah, what
for him.
He drew the fucking line.
What a comfort to the parents. She died a virgin.
She died a virgin, though, so you guys can rest
These
easy.
parents are fucking idiots, though. I mean, they fucking left their kid with Albert Fish.
Yeah,
so.
sure, stranger. Go ahead and take my kid to a party.
Yeah.
So,
Go
yeah,
ahead,
obviously
take her.
people were a little different back then. And you see why they're not anymore. So the other guy, he's going up against Ahmad Saraji. This is the Indonesian guy, killed 42 girls and women between 1986 and 1997. Victims range between 17 and 40. They were strangled after being buried up to their waist in the ground as part of a ritual. So he was a very ritualistic killer. Bury him in a sugarcane plantation near his home, heads facing his house, he believed would give him power. He was a cattle breeder by trade. He was arrested on the 30th of April, 1997, after the bodies were, discovered. His 3 wives, who were sisters, were also arrested for assisting in the murders and helping him hide the bodies. One of his wives, Tumini, was tried as an accomplice and sentenced to death before it was reduced to life imprisonment. So
This almost seems like this guy was doing this like on some misguided belief of like, this will grant me strength and power.
Well, yeah.
As opposed to Albert Fish, who was like just this kind of cold, sadistic, like, oh yeah, this is a fun time we're having.
Actually, Albert Fish also kind of had a similar thing going where I didn't get into it in the article I read, but Albert Fish was a committed Christian. He believed that, much like Mother Teresa, that suffering was this beautiful gift from God. So he actually thought that what he was doing was this spiritual act that was bringing him closer to God.
They're actually a good pairing then.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I don't know if I'd use the word good, but yeah.
I would.
No, I mean,
obviously you would, John X.
Well, no, I'm saying they're a good pairing to go head to head.
Yeah, yeah.
Because they're kind of similar in that respect. Then.
Here's their murders of Mr. Saraji here.
We should pull a picture too.
Yeah, sure. I'll pull. I don't know if there is a picture of him. There isn't a picture.
Oh,
of
there
him.
isn't.
Yeah, he has no picture.
Oh shit. Well,
I mean, he was in Indonesia.
That's true.
Yeah, they didn't get cameras there till like 2004.
Andreas, blah blah blah. He. I mean, you pretty much know everything you need to know. He killed the girls. He would bury them up to their waist.
Give me your power.
He'd strangle them, facing his house, so that they
really
would
feel
project power to him.
I know that we don't have time to do this, but I would love to try this. Like, I think I'm going to after the show. I'm going to kill 2 or 3 people and bury them and point their heads towards my house. See if it gives me energy, because this is an interesting serial killers. We've got our whole science community too. And this guy was a scientist. We're always trying to harness the energy of our victims in one way or another. I mean, Albert Fish was trying to consume his. I drink mine's blood and then puke it back up on them.
Oh, wait, hold on. Here's an interesting thing. He told police that he had a dream in 1986 in which his father's ghost directed him to drink the saliva of 70 dead young women so that he could become a mystic healer. Raji thought it would take him too long to encounter 70 dead women, just by happenstance. So he's like, well, I guess I got to kill them myself.
I got to make some dead women then.
So he became a sorcerer. Women would actually come to him for spiritual advice and such things, or they'd ask how to get rich or beautiful or whatever, and he would cast a spell on them. Then he would take them into the sugarcane field, bury them up to their waist. He claimed it's, this is part of the ritual. This is going to help you, get what you want. And then he would strangle them to death, and he would proceed to drink their spit. After, he would strip the clothes from their bodies to accelerate decomposition, and then he would bury them in the ground with their heads pointing towards his house. He said to the police, my father did not specifically advise me to kill people, so I was thinking it would take ages if I had to wait to get 70 women. I was trying to get it as fast as possible. I took my own initiative to kill.
Okay.
Damn, dude.
So pretty fascinating set of spiritual beliefs there from our friend Ahmad.
Yeah, definitely some things to look into for myself. I don't know, though.
I mean, I feel torn in a way.
I feel a little torn on this one, too.
Well, Ahmad killed way more people.
Yeah, but we agreed it's not a numbers race.
It's not
dude.
about numbers.
I mean, that you said that was a factor.
It is a factor. It is a point to him.
If you really want me on, I mean, like, Albert Fish had like 3 to 5 confirmed kills at best. He's a fascinating guy, though. Also a crazy sadomasochist. Had kids of his own, never killed them, but would actually make them spank him with, like, paddles that he'd put nails in and shit.
Damn, dude, that's fucking weird.
Like, so he was trying to train his kids to be sadists because he was like a crazy masochist. He would stick needles into his skin. He did all kinds of crazy shit. And all for Jesus.
So why else, dude? That's the best reason.
Because that's what Jesus likes.
TJ, Christ suffered martyrdom.
Yeah, he suffered on the cross.
He fucking suffered and died for your sins, TJ. Should this Albert Fish not suffer as well? Should you not suffer, TJ?
I don't know. Should I?
You should.
What's the audience thinking on these two gents?
Yeah, I mean,
let's see.
Get a little guidance here.
Pretty strongly in favor of Albert Fish.
I mean, that's just name recognition, I think, more than anything.
Right, because, I mean, he's up against Ahmad Raji, who none of us had heard of until 5 minutes ago.
Right. So
I don't
this
know.
really is about, I mean, media is a factor here. Name recognition is a factor here. Albert Fish resonated in a big way with people. I'm
gonna have to fucking throw it in for Albert Fish, dude. It's tough.
I'd go with Albert as well. I think the audience is correct in their
assessment.
Like we said, this isn't a numbers game here.
If it was numbers, then it'd just be a lot easier. But we weren't going for just numbers.
All right, Fish it is. Unabomber versus Bathory. Two kind of unconventional entries into the list. The Unabomber, of course, sent bombs to people.
Ted Kaczynski,
your buddy.
Yep.
Your buddy Ted.
Good old Ted. Teddy boy, we used to call him.
I've had like 3 or 4 people be like, dude, you should actually read Ted Kaczynski's fucking manifesto because it's pretty fucking solid, dude.
I mean, maybe it is. I don't know.
He had a fucking solid grasp of shit, man. That's all I'm saying.
A lot of really crazy fucks have come up with things that make a whole lot of sense, you know?
He was sentenced to 8 consecutive life sentences.
How many did he kill?
3 counts of murder.
So 3 people.
He tried to kill way more.
Of course.
Only succeeded in killing 3. He's got one of the best fucking mugshots I've ever seen in my fucking life.
Oh, my Lord. That is a thing of beauty.
Isn't it?
It really is. I mean,
it really is.
It's everything you'd expect.
And when we talked about the conspiracy theory that the Zodiac killer was Ted Kaczynski.
Well,
yeah, maybe so.
He was an American domestic terrorist. He was a mathematics prodigy. He abandoned an academic career in 1969 to pursue a primitive lifestyle. Between 1978 and 1995, he killed 3 people, injured 23 others in a nationwide bombing campaign targeting those involved with modern technology.
I think he was never actually caught. No, I mean, he was caught, but he was actually caught not by police, but by his own family member.
Yeah, his brother recognized his handwriting on TV.
So he was kind of a primitivist then? He believed that, like,
he was a total primitivist, yes.
Yeah. And that he was killing these people.
Yeah, wasn't he living in Montana or some shit?
Yeah.
Yeah. And he was killing because he was trying to stop this technology from spreading. He felt like humanity... He was basically trying to save the world in a perhaps misguided way.
So a Thanos.
Yeah, he was like the Thanos of his time.
Not a very successful Thanos, though.
Little lamer. Instead of infinity gems, he had little bombs that he mailed. But whatever, he was trying.
I'm going to send a bomb to somebody.
He did his best. The next motherfucker that he's up against here
is our only other woman.
Only other woman on the list. What the fuck is going on here? Full screen, motherfucker.
What's going on, TJ?
I don't know.
Drunk, TJ?
I'm drunk. Here she is, 650 victims.
Oh, that's a number.
What?
Well, it's easy when you're powerful.
That's true.
650, dude?
She was a Hungarian noblewoman, alleged murderer, so we don't know for sure. Owned land in the Kingdom of Hungary and Transylvania, now Romania. She's been labeled by the Guinness World Records as the most prolific female murderer, although the precise number of her victims is debated. Bathory and 4 collaborators were accused of torturing and killing hundreds of young women between 1585 and 1609. The highest number of victims cited during Bathory's trial was 650. However, this number comes from the claim by a serving girl named Susanna that Jacob's Filavzi or some shit, Countess Bathory's court official, had seen the figure in one of Bathory's private books. The book was never revealed, and Svilazzi never mentioned it in his testimony. Despite the evidence against Bathory, her family's influence kept her from facing trial. She was imprisoned in December 1609 within some kind of castle. And she was solitarily confined to a windowless room until her death 5 years later. The famous thing about her is that she was obsessed with maintaining her youth and beauty, and she thought that if she, bathed in the blood of young girls, it would grant her the restoration of her youth.
Kind of going into like the vampire mythos and like you drink someone's blood or you bathe in the blood.
There's a movie called Lady Dracula or something, or Countess Dracula, that's about her.
Oh, so, you can see why.
She's also called the Blood Countess.
I wish I was powerful enough to have somebody bring them to me.
Yeah, and then
I gotta go out and do all the legwork and shit.
It's pretty lame,
Yeah, she's hadn't fucking delivered on a silver platter, dude.
Yep. This is the dream, but looking at just some of the facts from her case, I'm thinking we have to push her forward at least one round here.
I'd be inclined to agree with you. The Unabomber only managed to kill 3 people.
Did she actually kill the victims, though?
It's just like a lot of... She kind of is in this place where you don't know what's myth and what's truth.
Gotcha.
Right, too long ago.
Sure, yeah.
But we do know that a lot of people were killed.
And it's
probable
that she bathed in their blood, so that's kind of a cool little serial killer trope.
Yeah.
I'd say advance her over the Unabomber, who I'm kind of
Unabomber's
reluctant to even
kind
call
of
him a serial killer. He's
kind of blah.
See if the people agree. Nope,
they
people
don't
like the Unabomber.
Oh, dude, sexist, dude.
They're wrong.
They're fucking sexist.
Bathory advances to the next round. So BTK. Bind, torture, kill.
Dennis Rader. Church-going guy, another guy like John Wayne Gacy, who was very respected in his community, very active at his church, very well known in the area that he operated in as a good guy. Had a cover and operated as a wolf in the herd of sheep.
He liked to taunt the police, much like our friend the Zodiac.
And Jack. Or maybe Jack.
Maybe Jack. He sent letters describing the details of his murders.
Ultimately led to his downfall, too.
He sent letters throughout his career telling him what he was doing, what he was up to. He was self-identified. One of the few killers to get to do his own nickname. BTK was his signature. Bind, torture, kill. He had 10 victims. A long span of victims. He was able to wait a little bit between them. Span of killings from 1974 to 1991. Wasn't really caught until many years later. He was caught in 2005, so he'd actually pretty much stopped his killings for quite a while before they actually ended up catching his ass. But what he didn't stop doing is sending letters.
That's what ended up gaffling him up.
So probably if he had stopped sending letters, he'd probably still be free.
But I mean, look how long he had gotten away with it for.
Oh yeah, because he'd been free from 1991.
And technology changes, and he sends it to someone on a computer where he's like, okay, well, I can send this and I'll be fine. But it's like, no, they can actually trace back looking at the metadata.
He ended up sending messages from the church that he was a big member and advocate for, and they traced it back to him, and there we go. That's kind of a dumb move on his part, honestly.
Yeah.
It's one thing to get caught because you left behind a footprint or something in the ecstasy of the kill. But this guy had that wrapped up. He only got caught because he couldn't keep from sending letters. Tisk, tisk, Dennis.
Well, he probably wanted to stay relevant. He probably felt irrelevant at that point. He hadn't killed in so long. He wanted them to be like, hey, I'm still around.
So probably his most notable murder was the first 4 murders he committed. Because he basically went to these people's house and killed the entire family in one night.
Yeah, the Ostero family or something.
Oteros,
yeah.
Joseph Otero, 38. Julie Otero, 33. Joseph Otero Jr., 9. Josephine Otero, 11. Don't name your kids Joseph and Josephine if your name is Joseph.
Why not, dude? George, and George.
Well, that's okay. He put him out of their misery.
He suffocated one. He strangled one. Actually, he suffocated 2, and then the 11-year-old girl he hanged from a drainage pipe.
Jesus, dude.
So that was on January 15th, 1974. On April 4th, 1974, he killed Catherine Bright by stabbing her 11 times in the torso.
So his MO changes after that first family kill. He never does another family murder.
He never does another big family murder. Maybe that was too much.
He goes after women after that.
Yeah, that was his only. That was the only men he killed. It was the only family he killed. So he kills another fucking girl, a 21-year-old girl, in April of the same year, 1974. Then he waits a few years till 1977. He kills a 24-year-old woman named Shirley Vian. Same year, he kills a woman named Nancy Fox. And by the way, by this time, he's settled on a method. Strangulation is his preference.
Wasn't they bound them, they tortured them, and he killed them?
Yep.
Yeah, via strangulation. Maureen Hedge, a 53-year-old, in 1985. So from 1977 to 1985, he didn't kill anybody. So he goes almost a decade without killing. Then, in 1986, he kills Vicky Wegerle, who's 28. Then in January 19th of 1991, another long period of inactivity, he kills a 62-year-old woman named Dolores E. Davis. So kind of strange. Usually these guys, they go on a spree. This guy, he kills,
Waits for a while.
and then usually they come in pairs of 2. But with the exception of the one in 1991,
Yeah.
But it's like he'll kill, and then he'll kill, and then he'll wait. And then he'll kill, and then he'll kill, and then he'll wait.
He's waiting for the trail to go cold, So
Yeah,
that
make
there's
sure
no
he
real
got
pattern. There's
get
nothing
away with it.
discernible.
I mean, so, he's one of those guys, I have a method. I'm not going to get caught. I'm going to be smart. Probably the first time, he probably was like, I'm going to kill. And the thrill of killing for the first time was so great. It's like, well, he kills an entire family. All this media attention, all this heat. And he's probably like, oh, shit. Doing this shit just made me a fucking... This is too hot.
There's also a story about him that I really like. One woman escaped him and it was because she decided to stay out later with her friends than she normally did. He had picked her to kill, broken into her house while she was gone, waited around for her, waited and waited and waited and waited and waited. And she never showed up. I mean, can you imagine how frustrating that would be if you'd broken into somebody's house and you're waiting to like bind them up and choke them and really murder them and fuck them up, and like they just didn't come home on time? You know,
that is a fucking travesty.
Occupational hazard. You know, I
dude.
empathize.
He was a big church going man. In fact, I think he got caught because he sent them a letter that they could tie back to his church somehow. So then they knew, like, it's someone at this church. They started getting a bunch of circumstantial evidence against him, and before long, they were on his trail. He's up against Louis Garavito.
I think he was the top kill guy, right?
Yeah, he was the Beast. The Beast. Colombian rapist and serial killer. I can put him up on the screen, yeah. A lot of these dudes are rocking mustaches with no beards. Mm-hmm. Don't trust a man with a mustache and no beard.
This guy looks like Pablo Escobar, dude.
His victims, based on the locations of skeletons, blah, blah, blah. He drew in prison. I guess he drew the locations of his victims on a map in his prison or something. It eventually exceeded 300. Garavito continues to confess to more murders, I guess, to this day. He's been described by the local media as the world's worst serial killer. Well, this is for the best, so.
Right.
According to the Attorney General's office and various judicial bodies, Luis Alfredo Garavito is the second serial killer of the world. Likewise, the judicial body ruled that all Garavito's sentences total 1,853 years and 9 days in jail.
9 days.
9 days.
Man, that last 9 days is going to be a killer. Can you imagine
pun intended. He targeted boys between the ages of 6 and 16 who were either homeless, peasants, or orphaned. He would approach young boys either on the crowded streets or along in the countryside, or alone in the countryside, lure them away by bribing them with small gifts such as money, candy, or odd jobs. An odd job is not a gift, okay?
I mean, it's
maybe that country,
Colombia it is.
He offered easy work for money and even disguised himself as different characters who could be seen as legitimately offering work to a boy, such as a priest. Yeah, I'm sure a priest has some work for him. A farmer, a homeless man. Why would a homeless man have work for anybody?
I know, that makes no sense.
A street vendor, a drug dealer. He might trick me with that one.
Yeah.
An elderly man and a gambler. To prevent suspicions about his activities from developing, Garavito would change his disguise often. Once he had the trust of a child, Garavito would walk away with the boy until they were tired and vulnerable, which then made them easy to handle. First, their hands were bound, then Garavito would remove their clothes, proceed to torture, rape, and sometimes decapitate them.
Jesus,
usually
dude.
the boys would endure prolonged rape and torture by having his buttocks stabbed and sharp objects inserted into his anus. His testicles were often severed and placed in his mouth.
Ugh.
The bodies of the children were all found completely naked. All bore bite marks and signs of anal penetration. Bottles of lubricant were found near the bodies, along with empty liquor bottles. Most corpses showed signs of prolonged torture. And this guy, once again, gonna be out in 40 years, 30 years.
I mean, if he survives.
It says his sentence was reduced to 22 years. Someone reduced this guy's sentence?
Why?
I've learned my lesson. You know those 300 boys I brutally decapitated and butt-fucked to death? Yeah. Never gonna do that again, guys.
Probably the same fucking...
Sorry about
probably
that.
the same backstory, like traumatic fucking childhood, and now he turns around instead of being like, I'll help kids. Like, yeah, I'm going to help you by raping, torturing, and killing you.
I tell you, parole board... Here's what I have to say about my crimes. Whoopsie daisy, huh? Whoopsie daisy.
Oops.
All right, sir.
You know what? Instead of 40, how about 22 years? That'll be good.
Public response, as many Colombians criticize the possibility of Garavito's early release. In recent years, Colombians have increasingly felt that Garavito's sentence was not sufficient punishment for his crimes.
No
shit. Some have argued he deserves either life in prison or the death penalty, neither of which exist in Colombia. Colombian law had no provision or method to impose a sentence longer than what Garavito received. which was seen as a deficiency in the law caused by the failure to address the possibilities of a serial killer in Colombian society. The law has since increased the maximum penalty for such crimes to 60 years in prison.
Good idea.
Good start. TV host and journalist Guillermo Prieto La Rata, popularly known as Piri, interviewed Garavito for a show which aired on the 11th of June 2006. Piri mentioned that during the interview, Garavito tried to minimize his actions and expressed intent to start a political career in order to help abused children.
The buttfuck party.
Wait a minute. He said when he gets out, he's gonna start a political career and he's gonna help abused kids.
Dude, the Nambla party, man.
Yeah. In fact, send all the teenage boys over to my house and then they can stay with me. Yeah.
I'll keep them nice and safe.
Yeah, Colombia, you might not want to let this guy work with
Colombia
kids when he gets out.
has a fucking problem with serial killers, dude. They need some laws in place that kind of deal with this a little bit better. 30 years for killing 300 boys seems a little fucking light.
So who's winning between BTK and the Butcher?
BTK has a decisive lead. Much less prolific a killer. I would say much less brutal a killer.
Yeah. But I think people enjoy the cat and mouse game that he played, and
yeah, he did taunt the police.
Plus, he operated for a much longer time as well.
Yeah, he got away with it longer.
Impunity.
And
300 kills though.
He did.
That's pretty insane.
He did kill an entire family one time too. So that's a pretty horrifying.
This guy,
if he actually stuck to that whole family killing thing, I think this would be easy.
Well, Louis Garavito too. I mean, he obviously intentionally picked victims that are weak and marginalized. So it'd be easy to kill.
Let's be real about the real reason why he's not a stronger contender. He killed a bunch of people in Colombia. You know, I mean, it doesn't seem like it'd be that challenging.
No, it really doesn't. I mean, especially killing basically vagrant boys, homeless fucking boys, idiot. You know, these
like once again, he's just kind of preying on the dregs of society. You know, dregs in that sense of they're poor. There's no one really looking out for them. They're easy targets.
Nobody really notices when they go missing.
BTK had a little bit more balls. I mean, he killed a fucking entire family of people. So,
yep.
And obviously, he's the favorite here.
I'd say we go with BTK.
I say we go with him.
Let's go with him.
So we're finally to round 2.
I mean, this should get easier now because we don't have to retell the stories here.
I mean, I think this one already is just a wash because that's just the title that accidentally got included. So obviously, Aileen Wuornos. Somehow the fucking top 10 serial killers got some votes. But
no.
Right. John Wayne Gacy versus Ed Gein. I'm going to go John Wayne Gacy on that.
I wouldn't argue against that.
I'm going to have to go.
I think the crowd seems to agree pretty significantly.
Yeah, I'll submit
that's an easy one. I mean, we've already gone. I don't know how long this show's been so far. It's pretty long.
Pretty long, yeah. I mean, it always takes the longest to get through that first part of the bracket. Because you got to tell the story, you got to compare.
Yeah, but now we've kind of established most of these characters.
Yep.
There are a few that don't appear until the second round, like Jeffrey Dahmer here.
That's true.
Now, Jeffrey, me and Paul, not that Paul's here or anything, but we read My Friend Jeffrey.
Oh, I've read that too.
That's a weird graphic novel, dude.
Childhood. They made a movie of it recently. I haven't seen the film. But the graphic novel is pretty interesting. It's written by a childhood friend of Jeffrey Dahmer's who kind of talks about his childhood. Now, I think we should go ahead and just bring up a few real baseline facts about Jeffrey here.
That graphic novel is very interesting, too, because it paints Jeffrey as a very sympathetic character, but it doesn't feel like it's trying to do that.
Yeah.
It just humanizes him in a way. You know, I remember when Jeffrey Dahmer was killing, I was a teenager. I mean, whatever. I was aware. And you don't know my age. And I was and I remember he was just painted as total, and he was evil. But there was really no background on him as a person.
Lived in a black area, killed 17 men and boys from 1978 to 1991. Had a lot of their body parts in his house. Had I think like a jar of penises. Had like brains, and he was originally. I mean, he tried to pour bleach and things in people's heads and turn them into his like zombie sex slaves.
And then when that didn't work, he ate them.
Yeah, he ate some of them. He fucked some of their corpses, rape, murder, dismemberment. He had a little crazy fun house of various torture implements and stuff. I'll go ahead and put him on the screen here. I think most people probably have some idea of what Jeff looks like. Murdered in prison by a fellow inmate in 1994.
One of the better looking serial killers, honestly.
Dude,
he was a gay dude. He would
Did
pick
you guys
up...
mention this time that like the police actually returned a victim to him?
Yeah, that's a pretty crazy story. One of his victims escaped. Jeff, he was like, he's trying to kill me, Jeff convinced the police he's just drunk, and the police are like, go back with the nice man.
Yeah. Go with the nice serial killer.
So, yeah, I think Jeff's story is pretty well publicized and well known. I don't want to get too much into it, but...
Pretty compelling as well.
He's up against Ed Kemper, who was the hitchhiking
The co-ed killer,
the guy who killed the...
I mean, these two, I'm sorry, but it's Jeffrey Dahmer.
Jeffrey Dahmer.
I'm sorry.
Dude, did you know that fucking Ed Kemper was 6'9"?
That's a big dude.
That's a big son of a bitch.
Wow.
Anyway, I think Jeff just has to win for sheer fucking legacy, and the people clearly agree.
Run away.
Runaway victory. We haven't gotten into Mr. Ted Bundy.
That's true. We haven't gotten to cover him yet, and we should take a look at him. Give him a glance. He's another really well-known one.
Yeah, Ted Bundy's super famous.
Another, he's a little evil in the eye area, but another good-looking serial killer.
He was considered a pretty good-looking guy. Obviously, here he looks sort of fucking crazy.
And he definitely used that to a great effect.
Yep.
To, help him with his kills.
He killed...
I think he kills 30 people?
30-plus people.
Yeah.
He was a little bit of the basis for Buffalo Bill, at least in the way he killed people, because he would often do that thing where he would fake an injury
on the skin. It does what it's told to.
He would fake like he was hurt and act like he was struggling to do something.
Couch in the back of the van?
That was something he actually did. That was a Ted Bundy original.
Put the fucking lotion in the basket!
To 30 homicides they committed between 1974 and 1978. True victim count is unknown. Young female victims who regarded him as handsome and charismatic. He exploited those traits to win their trust. Typically approached them in public places, feigning injury or disability or impersonating an authority figure before overpowering and assaulting them at a more secluded location. Sometimes revisited his secondary crime scenes for hours at a time, grooming and performing sexual acts with the decomposing corpses. Wow. A lot of these guys like to fuck corpses. I noticed that.
Yeah, what is that?
Do you like to fuck corpses, John X? Or is that
I
not your
really
thing?
don't like bodies at all, to be honest with you. Like, that's why I puke on them. After I drink
It's your way of saying, like, gross.
Yeah, it's like, ugh.
Well, I mean, isn't it kind of because then that they can't be rejected? They have to say yes to them. They're dead, so they can just do whatever they want. Ultimately they have no fear of rejection, and they're in total control.
I mean, yeah, I could see that aspect of it. I think you're right about that. It's but I mean, who knows? Who knows what goes on in the mind of one of these guys?
I mean, it might just be
Except me, of course.
Oh well, of course.
Yeah, he was another pretty smart guy. He was college educated, good-looking, charismatic. Kind
of also living that double life that we've talked about with some of these other guys, where they weren't preying on the fringes of society. They were operating in...
No, he was able to. Yeah, this is another guy like Gacy, who's able to, and he was the one I was thinking of that was like big in the Republican Party. He was kind of like he's almost like the anti Gacy. Gacy preyed on boys. He preyed on women. Gacy was a Democrat. He was Bundy was a Republican. Gacy was a big fat slob. Bundy was a reasonably handsome dude.
But they both had their different social skills. Like, Gacy was a big fat slob, but he used that fat guys are jovial and happy kind of thing.
Yeah.
And he's
a clown
that to lure people in. And Bundy here used his smoldering good looks.
Yeah, and he was going to law school and stuff. So he was a well-educated man.
He had things going for him. People thought he was attractive, good-looking, outgoing.
He was smart. He was considered attractive.
Obviously,
he
know
was
how to talk to people,
charismatic.
gain their trust, and then you take advantage of them.
Yeah, so, pretty crazy guy. And Donald Henry Gaskins, which one was that again?
The hitchhiker killer.
Okay.
The guy that was raped, and then he killed the guy, remember?
Okay, right. The guy with the crazy life story.
Now,
he became a Kearney. He did all that crazy shit.
They say Ted Bundy by a definitive margin.
Once again, this crowd tends to vote with name recognition. We got to consider other things.
All right, so Donald Henry Gaskins had a pretty interesting life, but a lot of it's probably his own mythology.
I agree.
I do kind of like the retribution aspect of I was raped and now
Right.
I will be the rapist.
I was once the beta, and I sheer force of will, made myself the ultimate alpha and omega. Now I'm fucking doing the raping.
And
I don't know.
now I'm on a murder spree where I just drive along the
Bundy
southern coast
is
killing
confirmed
people.
to have killed a lot more.
That's true.
He just really... I know we're not going purely by numbers, but I kind of feel like Bundy has his own mythology because it was just what he did.
I feel like you got to give it to Bundy just because of how well he seemed to assimilate into society.
I hate to see Gaskins' life story, go away at this point because it is really interesting. But yeah, I tend to agree. Bundy is probably going to move on here.
Yeah.
All right, so Zodiac versus Son of Sam.
Ooh.
This is tough.
Now, we did a whole episode exploring the Zodiac, so we don't need to do anything.
I have a letter here from the Son of Sam that I'd like to read for you.
Okay, go ahead.
Might influence. I love to hunt, prowling the streets looking for fair game, tasty meat. The women of Queens are the prettiest of all. I must be the water they drink. I live for the hum, my life. Blood for Papa. So that's some of his writing there. That's just an excerpt from one of these letters. I've got a bunch of them here, and they're all pretty similar. Because
I like his writing style a little bit better than I like the Zodiac's.
Me too. The Zodiac seemed way more like he was all about the tease, and this guy was too. But he had a mythology behind it. I'll read a little more. To the people of Queens, I love you. And I want to wish all of you a happy Easter. May God bless you in this life and in the next. And for now, I say goodbye and good night. Police, let me haunt you with these words. I'll be back. I'll be back.
Son of Sam has a very interesting origin story, but the Zodiac never being caught, that does give it a certain degree of mythology too.
For sure.
And the sheer image of him dressed up in that crazy costume. It's like he was trying to craft an image a lot more than the Son of Sam was. So the Son of Sam was obviously someone who was just severely mentally ill, who let that get the better of them because obviously no one really recognized he needed proper mental health care and treatment, especially during that time period.
Yep.
The Zodiac, he really does. He inspired a lot more. He captured the imagination, but they're both. I feel it's really difficult to choose.
Anybody that.
Let's be real here. There's one fucking thing that the Zodiac's definitely got on Son of Sam, and that he was never caught.
That is true.
Yeah,
he did what he wanted to do.
That is a fucking big point to a serial killer, not getting caught and still being ultra
only
famous.
two dudes on this list can make that claim: Zodiac and Jack.
It's tough, but my vote would have to go to the Zodiac.
I think it's nobody that made it to the second round of this is slighted. So Son of Sam, I think I like his story better. But
Galen,
I think Zodiac,
by the way, is in the chat bragging that he could best whoever tops this list in a New York millisecond.
Who? Galen?
Galen.
Oh, okay.
So Galen's gonna whoever.
Yeah, Galen, go ahead.
Galen's gonna fucking serial killer those fuckers.
I'm John X, and I've never heard of Galen out there. I've never seen him in any of the
conventions.
He's never been at RipperCon.
Well, Galen can go ahead and make his own list. Nothing stopping him.
I think there has to be the fucking. It has to be the Zodiac for me. I don't know. We'll see what the crowd. Let's see what the crowd says.
I'm pretty sure the crowd is going to agree. And
pretty definitively. I say Zodiac. Scotty says Zodiac, right? Crowd says Zodiac. John
since it's a protest vote, I'll say Son of Sam, but it doesn't matter. I'm fine with Zodiac going on.
All right, Zodiac
Paul loses.
proceeds.
Who loses, Scotty?
Paul loses. Dude.
Paul loses.
Who the fuck is Paul?
Paul Knowles, dude.
Paul Knowles. Okay. All right. Well,
See? Paul Knowles.
Yeah, Paul
got
loses,
it,
dude.
Got it.
Yeah,
I wasn't talking about PP, dude.
Paul Knowles.
We're not going to talk about PP.
PP?
PP.
What a lame name.
Dude, PP.
I like John X way better.
PP. Now, Paul Knowles, I don't think we've gone over him yet. He's a pretty badass looking motherfucker here.
Yeah, he kind of looks like a 70s action movie
So this is
star or
the
something.
Casanova killer?
Yep.
Yeah, he's another guy. He's kind of like Bundy. He kind of
He's like the fucking Steve McQueen of serial killers, dude.
he was like a confidence man. He'd fucking lure people in. He would just shoot them though, you know. He didn't really
Not too much je ne sais quoi in that, is there?
You know, he had 13 to 35 victims. They're not sure. He was born in Orlando, Florida. Father gave him up to live in a foster home and reformatory schools after he was convicted of a petty crime. Knowles himself was first incarcerated at the age of 19. Spent a few years in prison.
Kind of has a Clint Eastwood-ish vibe about him, you know?
I mean, I think the main reason we included him here is because he just kind of looks cool.
Looks like a bad motherfucking ass.
He does, dude.
Looks like there's a lot of contention in his murder section. There's like a lot of citations needed all over the place.
Shit, dude. You know what? I mean, I have a hard time voting for...
I mean,
And
who's he up against
didn't
again?
we have him beat H.H. Holmes?
Well, I mean, H.H.
Well,
Holmes is
we did that because H.H. Holmes is total
he's
bullshit.
a total fraud.
Yeah, I mean, it is a total... But yeah, I mean, this guy might...
This guy killed at least 13
Okay,
people.
so he's not a total fraud like
No.
H.H. Holmes. Oh, okay.
No, it's
just
just not
don't know
really.
a whole lot
There's just
about-
not a whole lot known
okay.
about what he did.
I misunderstood. I thought you were saying it was kind of the same thing. I was
we
like,
know
what the fuck?
H.H. Holmes is bullshit, but I think this guy is kind of bullshit too.
I mean, yeah. We
I
don't
mean,
know. There's
he's
no
just
hard data.
he's just kind of the poor man's. I mean, I just don't see him beating Albert Fish. Is what I'm saying.
yeah,
to you.
he's like the poor man's Bundy.
Yeah, that's what I'm telling you. So I think Albert Fish has got to get it.
I think so
He
too.
wins, dude.
Jack the Ripper versus Bathory.
This is tough,
Shit,
man.
dude.
This is a hard one because, well, I know which way the wind is going to blow on this, but
We all know Jack the Ripper's going to win.
Jack is going to move on
Well, look,
here.
Jack the Ripper is the prototype for what we think of
I
as
mean,
a serial
Bathory
killer
obviously
today.
predates Jack by quite a bit,
Yes.
But no one really-
not cultural impact is not even a contest.
No one even really thinks of her as a serial killer, and she really
Yeah.
was just kind of like a rich bitch that ordered her subjects killed.
Right.
Yeah, that's all it really
Jack
was.
the Ripper was actually that fucking free-spirited, I'm gonna fucking cut some women's guts out kind of motherfucker.
Free spirited, huh?
Yeah.
I think he's got to move forward. What do you
I mean,
Yeah.
I think you can't let Jack can't lose at this point.
No.
He's too high caliber. He's got to go on. Respect to Bathory and the hundreds of women she killed, but Jack the Ripper did the 5 that he did with greater style and oomph. So Richard Ramirez, another one we haven't gone over. He's a crazy fuck.
Yeah, this is one that's going to be a contender, I think.
The Night Stalker. Let's go in.
Cool serial killer name too.
It is.
Get on the screen, bitch.
Kind of looks like a guy that would sell you pot.
Yeah.
Well, he was a burglar.
Man.
Died of cancer, some lymphoma.
Oh no, so sad.
Back in 2013. I was sad. He was an American serial killer, rapist, and burglar. Do you really even have to put burglar on there?
He
you know?
burgled. I mean, like
some point.
no one's like, yeah, you heard of the Night Stalker? Yeah, he burgled.
A renowned rapist, murderer, and petty shoplifter. It's
Yeah,
like,
he committed petty larceny all the
was,
time.
He was big into home invasions. Actually, his first kill was kind of like on accident. He went to a house he thought was empty. Someone was there. He killed him. Found out he enjoyed it.
got a taste for it.
Whoa,
He liked to kill in a wide variety of ways. He used handguns. He used
that's kind of
knives,
crazy though. I mean,
He
like,
used a machete.
what
He used a tire iron.
What
he
you
used a
just said
hammer.
though, just like he kills, like he doesn't even go out that night like I'm gonna kill somebody. It's just like, oh, it happens that way, and it's like, well, I enjoy this.
He worshipped the devil.
Cool.
Never expressed any remorse for his crimes. In fact, he basically told society to go fuck itself and that they can't judge him. He was sentenced to 13 death sentences.
They're gonna kill him 13 times.
Yeah.
Kill him,
Holy shit.
bring
And
him
he ended
back
up
to
dying of
life.
cancer before they could even kill him, so whatever.
They're gonna necromancer his ass back 12 times.
He was born in El Paso, Texas on February 29th. The youngest of 5 kids. He's a Mexican.
Whoa, TJ.
That's why Trump's trying to keep him out.
If they had the wall then.
He sustained
What
a
happened?
couple of serious head injuries as a kid. When he was
That's
2.
actually something
Yeah.
that's prevalent in serial killers.
Is it?
It is actually, yeah.
Weird.
Brain trauma.
Head trauma, brain trauma, like you said, and child abuse.
So when he was 2 years old, a dresser fell on him. When he was 5 years old, he was knocked unconscious by a swing at a park. After that, he had epileptic seizures that persisted into his early teens. He smoked pot since the age of 10. Cool.
See, I can fucking call the dude.
He would sell you weed. You're right.
So on April 10th, 1984, 9-year-old Mei Leong was found murdered in a hotel basement where Ramirez was living in the Tenderloin district of San Francisco. The girl had been raped, beaten, stabbed to death, and her body was found hanging from a pipe. Kind of similar to the way that BTK killed one of his first victims.
Yeah.
First known killing. He was not initially identified as being connected, obviously. It wasn't actually until 2009 that this was revealed as one of his murders. I think he was already dead. No, he wasn't dead by then. He was dead by 2013. So that was his first victim. They didn't realize it until many, many years later. So he goes from a 9-year-old to a 79-year-old.
Trying the whole gamut.
On June 28th, 1984, 79-year-old Jenny Vinkow was found brutally murdered in her apartment, stabbed repeatedly while she was asleep. Her throat was slashed. She was nearly decapitated. His fingerprint was found on the mesh screen. 1985, he attacked 22-year-old Maria Hernandez outside of her home, shooting her in the face with a .22 caliber handgun after she pulled into her garage. She survived somehow. Inside of the house, her roommate Dale Okazaki, 34, heard the gunshot, ducked behind the counter. When she raised her head, he shot her once in the forehead, killing her. Killed a bunch of people. All this night, I mean, I remember there was a thing where he spared some chick because she talked to him.
She was kind to him or something?
Yeah, like she conversed with him, and he decided to spare her.
He's like, all right, you're cool.
He's like, all right, you're
get
a
a
decent
pass.
enough person. He had 13 counts of murder, 5 counts of attempted murder, 11 counts of sexual assault, 14 counts of burglary. So yeah, pretty fucking crazy dude. Killed a bunch of people, called the Night Stalker, called the Walk-In Killer, called the Valley Intruder. He was 6'1", liked to worship the devil, never showed any remorse, even fake remorse for his crimes. One of the cool things about him was he was actually apprehended by a bunch of people who he's lucky they didn't just beat his ass to death in the street. They almost did. His identity was revealed on the news, and he didn't know it.
Oh, fuck.
So he was just
That's
walking
crazy.
down the street. He took a bus to Tucson, Arizona to go visit his brother. He was unaware that he was the lead story in virtually every major newspaper and television program across the state of California. Didn't even meet his brother, so he decided to head back to Los Angeles. He walked past officers who were staking out the bus terminal in hopes of catching the killer should he attempt to flee on an outbound bus. Apparently, he walked right by him. They didn't even notice him.
Flatfoot.
Jesus, dude. Fucking
He went to a convenience store in East Los Angeles. After noticing a group of elderly Mexican women fearfully identifying him as El Matador, or the killer, Ramirez saw his face on the covers of the newspaper rack and fled the store in a
like, "Oh,
panic.
shit."
He's like, oh, fuck.
The jig is up.
He attempted to carjack a woman, but he was chased away by bystanders who pursued him. After hopping over several fences and attempting 2 more carjackings, he was eventually subdued by a group of residents, one of whom had struck him over the head with a metal bar in the pursuit.
Jesus, dude.
The group held Ramirez down, relentlessly beating him until police arrived and took him into custody. So he was probably kind of relieved by the time the police got
He was about
there.
to get some frontier justice, dude.
Yeah,
Yep.
they were fixing
Hang
to
him high.
kill his ass.
You know, like, they weren't...
So he was actually apprehended by a fucking group of everyday citizens who were like, hey, that's that fucking son of a bitch
Yeah,
keeps
fuck this
killing
dude.
people. Let's beat his ass in the streets. So Richard Ramirez or BTK? What you fuckers feeling?
I mean, they were kind of similar. Both the pipe thing. There's that thread of similarity between the two of them there.
Similar victim count.
Break-in killers.
Break-in killers. So lion weight type of killers or break-in killers. So I'd say Richard Ramirez has to take it by a hair here.
I'm
slightly more victims.
I'm inclined to agree.
Slightly more evil.
Yep.
And
he was on the
outdoes
square.
him. Outdoes him
you know
a little
what
bit.
I mean?
And it looks like he's slightly preferred anyway.
The people agree, dude.
Remember, you guys can vote in this anytime. It's down in there.
Yep. Vote.
All right, so now we're finally getting to the part where this can speed up a little because we don't have to go through any more biographies here.
Yep.
Aileen Wuornos or John Wayne Gacy?
Gacy.
I think Gacy has to easily take it at this point, right?
The winner.
Yeah, nobody has slided at this point by staying at this slot. They're in the top 10 now. So.
All right. So, Jeffrey Dahmer or Ted Bundy?
These guys, this is fucking tough.
Now, that's a tough one.
Dahmer versus Bundy. Both lookers. You know, both guys that used their good looks.
One gay, one straight.
Yep.
Both preying on the objects of their sexual
this one to
desire.
me,
both necrophiliacs.
Both necrophiliacs.
Whoever wins this is not slide. I think this has to go to a vote though, because.
Well, let's see what the people think.
Yeah, let's see where the votes stand now.
So it's pretty close.
It should be.
Let's give them a few more minutes.
All right, I'm going to tell you guys what. We're going to give these guys a little bit more time. You guys go to the link in the description section of this video. Go vote. Let it be known. This will be decided by the crowd. So I got to give it to the Zodiac over Albert Fish. I think Albert Fish was a depraved, crazy son of a bitch.
Yes.
But the Zodiac killer killed more.
Way
he
more
taunted the
mythological.
police. He was just like...
Just captures the imagination more.
Yeah, he captures that imagination
and
more.
you know what? He was never caught.
And the fact that he was never caught. And I really think he deserves to go up against probably Jack the Ripper in this next round unless Ramirez can take it somehow. So Jack the Ripper versus Richard Ramirez.
See, we're forcing a showdown here, and I think that honestly at this late, Zodiac and Jack might be the top two.
Right. So I feel like Jack, being the original, being that first brutal celebrity serial killer, being the archetype for all these fuckers that came after him.
We can't eliminate him.
He's got to go. He's got to go to the next round.
Right, and so does the Zodiac, too, though, for me. I mean, we can't...
The Zodiac already did. They're not facing off yet.
Well, I'm saying, though, like, we're going to have to rid one of them, and that might actually be 1 and 2, if we're honest here. Jack and the Zodiac, come on. And we're gonna have to have one of them go. Like at this point in the bracket, we might want to think about, you know, not putting these people head to head and forcing ourselves to get rid of one of them.
Sure.
But anyway, I believe he goes over Richard Ramirez for sure. I agree with that.
All right, so let's see what the people think of this. Jeffrey Dahmer's the decisive winner.
Yep.
So it's Dahmer versus Gacy.
This is a tough one for me.
Ooh.
Gacy's one of my favorites. Just the clown.
Both preying on young boys.
Yeah, they're very similar at this point.
Both kept the bodies close to them.
Keeping the bodies around them. John Wayne Gacy has, I think, the added... I mean, let's be real. Jeffrey Dahmer was a drunk. He was not socially adaptable. He lived in a black area, as a white dude, which, not saying there's anything wrong with that, but it's not common.
He was not a big member of his community.
Yeah, he's not part of the community. He
was off. He wasn't really involved.
Yeah, people probably who knew about him probably knew, like, there's something a little wrong with that guy. Mm-hmm. John Wayne Gacy, no one suspected a fucking thing. Until he was caught. I think you got to give it to that level of camouflage and say that Gacy wins that one.
Gacy wins in my eyes.
I mean, it's so hard,
Dahmer is a fucking... he's one of the fucking most well-known serial killers for a reason.
They were just using different kinds of camouflage, though.
Sure.
John Wayne was using the social camouflage of I'm acceptable, I'm respectable, I'm a businessman, I'm a community leader, people know me. And Jeffrey Dahmer was using the camouflage
but no one gives a shit
nobody.
about me.
I'm a drifter. I'm at the edges of society. I live in a shit part of the town that nobody goes to.
Was that kind of just him as a person, though?
I hunt in the gay community, which is already marginalized socially. You know what I mean? So it's a different kind of social camouflage. I agree, though. John Wayne Gacy probably moves on for me.
The people also agree. Zodiac versus Jack the Ripper. I mean, we don't have to rank it based on how it goes here.
Right, because I really think that these guys are probably our top two, and it's just an argument now over who. Like, I think John Wayne is 3.
Yeah.
Okay. So we don't even have to complete this bracket.
Yeah, John Wayne Gacy
No,
is 3.
We could probably make the list at this point.
Let's go ahead and make the list.
Yeah, we got to break the bracket at this point because we can't just eliminate Jack.
I mean,
the Ripper.
are we going to put who's not going to be number 1 is the question.
Yeah, that's what we got to hack out.
Well, let's
here.
go through the rest here. Let's go up to number 10.
Well, we've already got that from the bracket.
Right, but let's just go ahead and formalize it so we can see our list here, and then we'll argue about who gets number 1 and who gets number 2.
Who will be number 1?
Okay.
All right, so we're not sure yet. Okay, so let me just do it this way because it'll be a little easier. So we know John Wayne Gacy is number 3.
He's 3 for sure.
We know he's 3. We know that number 4 is
Probably Jeffrey Dahmer.
going to be Jeffrey Dahmer, who he beat slightly. We know that, let's see. Well, I mean, like, okay, so here's the winners from the round previous. We already got John Wayne Gacy and Jeffrey Dahmer. We already decided Zodiac and Jack the Ripper are getting it. So here's the people they came up against.
Okay.
Richard Ramirez, Albert Fish, Ted Bundy, and John Wayne Gacy. So we still have to decide what order those guys go in.
Man.
Or not John Wayne Gacy. I'm sorry, Aileen Wuornos.
I mean, I think Aileen should be at the top of that, like the highest down the list.
Right.
I think we can build down from that. So we're deciding 3 or 4 right now.
All right, so hold on. Let me just give you the options here.
Okay.
So you said you want Aileen here.
I think that makes sense.
I agree with that.
All right, so the 3 other ones here,
So who's
Bundy,
number 5?
Ted Bundy, Albert Fish, and Richard Ramirez.
I like that order. I mean, I like it. Ted Bundy, Richard Ramirez, Fish.
So you say Fish here?
Fish
7?
If you guys agree.
Yeah, and who you're saying Richard Ramirez?
Bundy 5, Richard Ramirez 6.
I think that makes sense.
Yeah, I can get down with that.
I mean, I might change the order, but I'm fine with that as the order. I think 1 slide down is not much of a slight.
So we got to just get the next. Okay, so for 9 and 10, here's your options for that. So we have a few, and you have to decide which one of these
Make the list and who's
going to make this list. So we got from the round previous, you got people among the people who
won,
who didn't advance because everyone else has been eliminated when we talked about the round previous.
Right.
Let me just make sure I'm not missing anybody here. We got Dahmer. We got Gacy. We got Zodiac and Jack at the number 2 and 3. Okay, so yeah. So here's your choices. Ed Gein, Ed Kemper, Donald Henry Gaskins, Son of Sam, Paul Knowles, Elizabeth Bathory, and BTK.
So Son of Sam
and BTK are probably popping out to me.
I'm thinking so. I mean, we might want to put Bathory on there. I mean, she was prolific as fuck.
I don't. I'm
just not really sure that she qualifies.
I'm not feeling Bathory. I'm saying Son of Sam 9, probably 10. BTK or Gaskins.
Yeah,
I'm saying Son of Sam and BTK.
Okay, I'm willing to go with that. I think that's right.
Okay.
All right, so let me just make sure make sure no one's been left out of this by accident. Okay. So we got John Wayne Gacy, we got Jeffrey Dahmer, we got Zodiac and Jack. We're just arguing about where they're going to go. We got Richard Ramirez. We got
Albert Fish. Aileen Wuornos.
We got Ted Bundy. We got Aileen Wuornos. We got BTK. Yeah, okay. There's no one's been left out that's important.
Right.
So the only question is the number 2 and the number 1.
I mean, I've got an idea.
Let's see what the crowd thinks, because we can see what they think here on this.
Right.
Now, they're saying Zodiac.
See, I feel differently. I think without Jack, there wouldn't be a Zodiac, there wouldn't be a John Wayne Gacy, there wouldn't be a Dahmer or a BTK or a Son of Sam or a Fish or a Ramirez or an Eileen Wuornos. I think Jack was the template. He may not have been the first serial killer.
Yet again another Count Orlok, dude. Is this Paul's Count Orlok again?
Well, who's Paul?
Yeah, who's Paul?
Oh,
first
well,
of all?
yeah, okay.
John
Well,
X.
sorry, John X. Dude, you know what, John X? I'm gonna fucking throw it and say Zodiac should be one. Fuck, I say we have another Count Orlok moment, TJ. Throw it in with my lot. Just to spite the person known as Paul.
I don't think so. I think Jack is the template. Jack's the man.
You know what?
Jack's the one that all of us want to be out there in the
streets. You know what,
streets,
John X? You know what? He might have been the original.
Hold on, let's think about this here.
But sometimes you gotta forge a new path.
Both of them have about 5 confirmed victims and a shitload of...
The Zodiac improved
maybe
upon the
victims.
model, dude. It's kind of like, you know what? Maybe Jack the Ripper was.
Let's think about the similarities here. They both have around the same victim count and a bunch of maybe victims.
Right.
Sure.
They both were never caught. They
Sure.
both created a media firestorm. So...
But one of them we know
what
actually
really-
engineered that firestorm.
You know what really gives it to Jack the Ripper is his murders were just so much more brutal than the Zodiac.
Yeah, I love that what we learned about him, how he was kind of exploring their
and
bodies.
how he got consistently more brutal with each crime. I think that I got to give it to Jack the Ripper.
I say you're wrong, dude. You have to give it to the Zodiac, man. Look, he created the firestorm. Jack the Ripper probably never was involved in it. He was probably a guy who was really curious about the insides of people. He probably had these urges, and he probably followed them. And then
But that's what makes him good. He didn't have to go out and get that media.
the
firestorm.
Zodiac
It just
fucking
happened.
recognized it.
Jack the Ripper is a cultural
use that.
force, dude.
Yep.
He is a cultural force. The Zodiac is a cultural force as well.
I feel like you got to give it to Jack the Ripper.
You gotta give it to the Zodiac.
I vote
dude.
Jack.
I vote
Zodiac,
Jack.
dude.
You're
Zodiac.
outvoted, Scotty.
Nope.
You're
Let's go to
outvoted.
fucking people, dude.
2-1.
I demand a fucking real vote, dude. This is
2-1.
bullshit. This is fraud.
Democracy in
fraud.
action.
Fraud.
Fraud.
We're a republic, Paul, not a democracy.
We're a democratic republic.
All right, this is going to have to go to a Twitter vote.
Or should we do it? Oh no, never mind. I thought we were gonna do it in the bracket, but we're done with
Well,
that.
there's no point in doing it in the
Yeah,
bracket.
I know that does. Yeah, that does.
The bracket's
They don't
done.
know what they're talking about. They don't know what's what over
The
there.
bracket's broken.
The bracket, I mean, whatever. It's already. I mean, the bracket is pretty close, so we just got to fucking figure this out.
Let's go to fucking Twitter, man.
So go to the DFF Twitter. If you're too stupid to find it, too bad for you, but it's at Deep Fat Fried Pod. I'll tell you that once.
It's down
Jack
in
the Ripper
description, too.
versus the Zodiac. Yeah, I guess it is in the description. Jack the Ripper versus the Zodiac.
Who's the best, guys?
Come on, guys.
Who is the greatest of all time? Who's the GOAT?
Jack the Ripper versus
Let's
the
just
Zodiac.
fucking. All I would say is let's fucking Orlok, the man known as Paul, again.
All right, you know what? Before I even do this fucking poll,
What?
I think that each of you should make the case.
Okay, well, who wants to go first? Do you have a preference, Scotty?
I'm going to give each of you 30 seconds to say your case for why your guy should win, and let the people
I don't
listen.
care, Paul. If you want to go first, I'll go first. If you want me, or what do you?
I'll go
what-
first.
There's
All right,
no
go
Paul
ahead,
here.
Go ahead, go ahead.
I'm
Hold
not
on, let me get-
Paul,
let me
by the
get-
way.
let me get a
I'm
timer.
I'm sorry.
fucking X.
I'm sorry, dude. John X, whatever you want to call yourself, go
Could
ahead.
you just turn off the Paul thing and bring back the other one? Because like you guys are just confused by this.
I'm just confused. Yeah, I'm reading Paul, dude.
Put the other fucking thing back on for me.
Why don't you
All
just
right,
take
go
off
ahead.
your mask and reveal who you really are, John X?
Why don't I slit your throat and drink your blood and puke
Well, you
it in
say
your
you're going to do
face?
that
All right, well,
anyway,
come
so you
on.
might as
What-
well show us the face.
So where's the fucking argument for Jack the Ripper
All
being
right,
number one?
hold on. Who's going first?
I'm going
Paul.
first. Give
All
me
right.
let me know.
I'm
when.
not. I'm not
signal.
Paul. I'm sorry. It's not Paul.
It's
Shut
John-
up, Scott.
John X.
Shut up.
John X is going first.
3, 2, 1, go.
Jack the Ripper is the template for a serial killer. He started the media firestorm. He was the first one to get lodged in people's brains, and he's never left. It is undoubtable. It is undoubtable that when the Zodiac Killer perpetrated his crimes, he thought of Jack the Ripper. He used Jack the Ripper as a template like all of these other guys did. They all want to be him. They're all trying to be him, and none of them really attained it. Jack wins. Number one, easy knockout.
All right, that was your full
right.
time. I'm resetting the clock. Scotty, 3, 2, 1, go.
All that shit is probably true. But consider this: we can fucking Orlok Paul yet again. Oh, not Paul. John X.
John
whatever.
X.
John X can be Orlocked yet again. He can lose yet again. And think about how salty the man known as Paul will be when he knows number one will be the Zodiac, and it'll be a total sham fucking vote. But guess what? Democracy in action. If 51% of people in democracy vote that Paul should be beheaded, that's how it goes. Right now, do it. Vote. Vote, vote, vote. Zodiac number one.
Scotty trying the dirty appeal to the trolls strategy. All right, the poll is beginning. I'm going to set it for 3 minutes. Get your ass to the Twitter right now and vote, vote, vote.
How do you guys feel about the rest of this list while they're doing that?
I guess I can't set it for 3 minutes. It's going to be set for 5 minutes.
Whatever.
Oh, shit. There's a timer going off.
Whoa.
Quiet. Quiet timer.
Quiet timer.
No one likes you, you fucking piece of shit. In the meantime, I guess let's go talk to the chat, see how they're feeling. What up, chat? How you doing?
It's got to be Zodiac chat. It's got to be the Zodiac.
Oh, shit. The chat is going fast. It's like...
Kill, kill.
Go fucking look at Twitter.
That's how I
I'm
get.
gonna look at Twitter right now.
motherfucker.
I like your chat here on this show.
Die,
That's how I
die,
feel,
die,
too, when I think
motherfucker.
about blood and degradation and necrophilia and eating the body parts of my victims and puking blood.
What up, chat? What up, chat? How y'all doing? Great audio. Jack the Ripper, Zodiac. Ripper, Zodiac.
Ripper.
We're not doing We're not doing a poll by, like, which one I see the most of in the chat. Go vote on Twitter, you stupid fuck.
Go fucking vote.
And vote. Or be silent.
Let's see how we doing tonight. I'm just going to give us some fucking statistics from the show.
The Zodiac needs to be the fucking winner.
Nothing better to do right now.
Look, you guys are just like so typical, dude. The pioneer, the first one. Oh, he did it. That's why we got to do it. Look, that's great.
The number one.
Oh, you guys drive around the first car ever made? No. You're not driving around the first car ever made because it sucks.
So first of all, I want to point out...
Jack the Ripper, yeah. In his time, he was
Shut
good.
up!
No, fuck you, TJ.
Shut up.
You
You've already
fucking
made
have
your
run
case.
your
You had your
You've
30
run your
damn
fucking
seconds.
mouth
I didn't
enough,
run
TJ.
shit.
You've run your fucking mouth
No,
enough.
I have not.
You're trying to poison the fucking well.
There's no well to poison.
No, you're fucking
I'm
poisoning
trying
the
to tell
goddamn
some
well.
fucking fun facts about the show tonight, so shut
Oh,
your damn
whatever,
mouth.
TJ.
So first of all, this is our longest ever regular show
Wow.
at 2.5 hours and 57 seconds.
It doesn't
so far.
feel like it's been that long.
Well, it has been. Peak concurrent viewers 1,654. Total view time in hours 3,510. Average viewer duration 31 minutes 21 seconds. And that's pretty much it.
It's pretty good.
Doing pretty nice.
Sounds like your audience likes them some John X.
John
you should
X.
fire this fat fuck Paul's ego and hire me.
Hire John X. No.
I'm available most
Because
evenings.
you know what? There's a guy who likes to take pictures of Paul's face and post them on the subreddit.
Oh. What's he going to do for this episode, that dumb fuck?
I don't know. Maybe he'll just post a John X picture. Maybe he'll
better
just
not.
post a John X
He better
picture.
not, or
John
there will
fucking
be
X,
blood.
dude.
He better not. That's all I'm going to say. I don't want to be accused of making threats, but I'm just saying he better not. Or I'm going to cut his throat. I don't want to be accused of making threats, but he better not.
Maybe some kind of accident will befall him.
Yeah, would hate for something terrible to happen to your Reddit guy. What makes the palsy... Well, I mean, look at that. I mean, why would you hire something like that, honestly?
I don't know, dude.
Holy shit, what a mess. I might just kill him to put him out of his fucking misery. Look at those eyes. Oh my god, he looks like he wants to just die. Is that why they're doing that collage of him?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
That's just the look into the eyes of
Dude, hopefully the
Paul.
collage will form like a white guilt Paul.
Yeah.
Should be a thing of fucking beauty there.
White guilt Paul, round as a ball.
So you guys know fucking Zodiac's gonna win, right? You guys realize
There's
that.
no way he's winning this. There's no
He's
way
gonna
taking
fucking
it.
win.
All right, let's see how
And
much
the man known
time
as
is
Paul
left
gets
here.
fucking Orlocked again, dude.
Jack is back. Jack is back in a big
Jack
way.
is back and smoking crack. Don't know how to act. It's a matter of fact. All right.
Fucking take a look right here.
Doing
dude.
some little Beezy lyrics there.
You little
All right.
busy now.
Yeah, I'm a little Beezy.
Oh man,
The poll is ending.
Dude, this fucking vote looks so rigged, dude.
The winner
This fucking poll is fucking been rigged, dude.
is About to be revealed.
This poll is fucking rigged, dude.
Drum roll.
Drum roll, if you please. It's how long does the poll take to end, motherfucker? All right, the poll is still ending. End. End poll. End.
Whatever, just give us the result.
Anyway, Jack the Ripper won.
wins.
Yes! Jack is back. Jack is back.
Jack is back.
That's what I'm
The
saying.
the people voted incorrectly today. They voted wrong.
The people know.
No, they don't know. They don't. Honestly, Paul, they don't know. I mean, John X, whatever your name is, they don't know. They don't know shit.
All right, so
This
the
is rigged.
final list.
I'll leave in
after-
protest.
It only took 2.5 hours to do. Number 10,
Rigged.
BTK, Bind, Torture, Kill. Number 9, Son of Sam, the guy whose dog told him to kill people. Number 8, Aileen Wuornos, the trucker-killing lot lizard. Number 7, Albert Fish, the sadomasochistic cannibal. Number 6, Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker. Number 5, Ted Bundy. Number 4, Jeffrey Dahmer. Number 3, John Wayne Gacy.
Number 2, Jack the Ripper. Number 1, the Zodiac.
Number 2, the Zodiac. This is the Zodiac speaking. And number 1, everybody's favorite classic killer, Jack the motherfucking Ripper. Thank you for watching Deep Fat Fried.
Jack.